Chapter 255. Qin Yu's body is very nimble, weaving between the corridors and the pavilions. At the same time, attacks are constantly falling around his body. Suddenly the pavilions are shattered. The corridors are turned into dust. The space is also shaking. Reverend Ming Shan's goal has been achieved. In such an environment, Qin Yu is absolutely unable to escape. Senior Ming Shan, we can't go on like this. We have already destroyed 3 sects. I think this Heavenly Flames fiend is doing this on purpose. If this continues, it will make many sects hostile to our Qingxi Temple. Qingxi Temple's 10th tribulation, loose immortal Mingji said anxiously. Reverend Ming Shan does not want to destroy other sects, but the Heavenly Flames fiend lord with strange magical powers is too evil. Close in. For a moment the body is like a mountain pressing down. Just as the body adapts to the pressure suddenly disappears. But in the blink of an eye, the pressure reappears again. No matter how powerful the expert is, such pressure appears and disappears. They are unable to maintain the accuracy of their movements. Wanting to get close to catch the Heavenly Flames fiend, it was impossible. Attack from afar? Attacking from afar is a way. But the Heavenly Flames fiend has been unable to withstand their attacks many times. But it seems like nothing happened. Reverend Ming Shan would never have thought that Qin Yu's body has a terrifying recovery ability. Hey, you 5 are tired of chasing. But to be honest, you call me Heavenly Flames Fiend. I feel this name is a bit ugly. Your nickname is too vulgar. Qin Yu's voice came from afar. How dare you? Reverend Ming Shan and the other loose immortals are furious, being chased by the 5 of them, and still have the leisure to joke with them. How can they not be angry? Haha. Catch me if you have the ability, haha. Qin Yu's loud laughter resounds through the forest. Qin Yu's whole body is like a black light shuttling between heaven and earth. The 5 rainbow lights, 1 in front and 4 behind, are also quickly catching up. Reverend Ming Shan and the others are faster than Qin Yu, but none of them are close to Qin Yu to fight. Close to this strange Heavenly Flames fiend. Are you tired of living? Oh, there is a sect 5,000 miles southeast. This is the 4th sect. 5 loose immortals continue to chase me. This time, our goal is to destroy 100 sections. You've only taken down 3 of them. It's still too early. With an elegant curve, Qin Yu flew towards the sect. Senior Marshal Brother, that school belongs to a good friend I met in the chaotic astral ocean. Reverend Lian Su. Lian Su Jinren is an eccentric person, and he didn't participate in the gathering of rogue immortals. If we destroy his sect, things will be bad. Rogue Immortal Mingji said anxiously. Reverend Ming Shan frowned, but his body had already chased after them. Reverend Lian Su is a 10th tribulation loose immortal. I heard that he obtained a treasure in the chaotic astral ocean. Is that true? Reverend Ming Shan inquired. Loose immortal Mingji said. That's right. Even though Immortal Lian Xiu is a 10th tribulation loose immortal, he has a very special magic treasure. He got it from an undersea whirlpool in the chaotic astral ocean. His strength is no less than yours. Reverend Ming Shan was slightly irritated. Let senior apprentice brother Ming Liang make the decision. Reverend Ming Shan immediately sends a message to Reverend Ming Liang. Reverend Ming Shan did not care much about the destruction of most of the sections. But this sect has a very powerful Reverend Lian Su behind it. Even though Qingxi Temple is not afraid, but it is still a very troublesome matter. Times on the battlefield between the loose immortals and loose devils. At the moment both sides are resting. Only Reverend Ming Liang, Wu Kongxue and other experts are on the same mountain peak. Reverend Ming Liang flipped his hand and took out a transmitter. What? Seeing a series of messages from Reverend Ming Shan, Reverend Ming Liang was finally shocked and angry. For the first time, Reverend Ming Liang had such a strong killing intent. This message from Reverend Ming Shan summed up to 4 things. 1. The fire burned Qingxi Mountain. Qingxi Mountain turned into a piece of scorched earth. Not even a blade of grass grew. 2. The Holy Land Heavenly Palace was completely burned down, and Heavenly Palace was trapped in a crack in the mountain. 3. 99% of Qingxi Temple's disciples died. Even if you add in the 10 development illusionary formation, and the ordinary disciples who escaped outside, there are only about 200 people left. 4. Now Reverend Ming Shan was forced to destroy one sect after another. Destroying someone's sect, this is a very big grudge. But if Reverend Ming Shan does not attack the space, what if the Heavenly Flames Fiend escapes? Can he let the Heavenly Flames Fiend escape? Junior brother, no matter what, we can't let the Heavenly Flames Fiend escape at all costs. I also know that Reverend Lianxiu, if his sect is destroyed, then so be it. When the time comes, I'll personally go and talk to Reverend Lianxiu. Reverend Ming Liang is angry. Remember, no matter what, we can't let the Heavenly Flames Fiend escape. If we don't kill him, even if I go to the immortal world, I won't have the face to see Qingxi Temple's predecessors. Looking at the mortal world, among the loose immortals, there is no one who can make Reverend Ming Liang afraid. That weird-tempered Reverend Lianxiu, although he has some magical powers, but in front of Reverend Ming Liang, he can't make any big waves. After passing the order to his junior brother, Reverend Ming Liang's heart became more anxious. His junior brother chased for so long, and still couldn't catch the culprit. If this continues, his junior brother will be forced to destroy one sect after another. Destroying a few sects, Reverend Ming Liang is not afraid. He, Ming Liang, would still be able to withstand the destruction of dozens of them. But what about destroying a few hundred? Even if he is more powerful, he will still be isolated and besieged. It is difficult to offend the public anger. Ming Liang, what's wrong? Your face doesn't look good. Did you catch the Heavenly Flames Fiend? Wukongsu's pupils reflect Reverend Ming Liang's gloomy face. Reverend Ming Liang looks at Wukongsu but doesn't say anything. Suddenly, Reverend Ming Liang's heart moves. This Wukongsu doesn't care about the Tung-Long Continent's loose immortals. But if he doesn't care, Dame Lianyu should care. Not to mention that the Heavenly Flames Fiend also destroyed Dame Lianyu's sect. Their hatred is also very big. Reverend Ming Liang doesn't speak, only uses his immortal sense to send a message to Dame Lianyu. Lianyu, I know your Inua Palace was destroyed by the Heavenly Flames Fiend, and my Qingxi Temple was also burned to the ground by the Heavenly Flames Fiend. Reverend Ming Liang speaks of his own tragedy as soon as he comes. Reverend Ming Liang also wants to unite the two against a common enemy. Dame Lianyu looks at Reverend Ming Liang. At the same time uses her devil sense to send a message. Oh, why did Reverend say this? Reverend Ming Liang secretly thinks there's hope. Lianyu, that Heavenly Flames Fiend's magic is strange. That day even Wukongsu couldn't catch him. You can imagine how good his escaping magic is. And now my junior brother is chasing that Heavenly Flames Fiend, even though he didn't catch him. But he's always following behind him. I think if our two sides work together, we'll definitely catch that Heavenly Flames Fiend. Reverend Ming Liang suggests. Dame Lianyu ponders for a moment. You're saying let's work together? We've already lost so many loose immortals, can we still work together? Dame Lianyu obviously doesn't believe it. Reverend Ming Liang continues. I also know it's unrealistic for our two sides to work together. But what I'm saying now is only for the matter of catching the Heavenly Flames Fiend. After catching the Heavenly Flames Fiend, we'll talk about killing each other, how about that? Dame Lianyu starts to think. That Wukongsu isn't a member of your Inua Palace. He doesn't care about the hatred of your Inua Palace. But you're the number one of the Inua Palace. The Inua Palace was destroyed, so many disciples died. If you don't kill the Heavenly Flames Fiend for revenge, will you have the face to see your elders in the Devil Realm? Reverend Ming Liang continues to persuade. Dame Lianyu's heart trembles. Heavenly Flames Fiend, how could she not hate him to the bone? Last time, he set fire to the Inua Mountain. This time he set fire to Qingxi Mountain. The number one school of the Devil Path and the number one school of the Immortal Path were both burned. I think he'll be satisfied. If we let him escape this time, he probably won't show up again. If we miss this time, we may never have the chance for revenge. Reverend Ming Liang's last sentence made Dame Lianyu wake up. Yes, both the Immortal Path and Devil Path were burned. This mysterious Heavenly Flames Fiend will probably be satisfied and hide. And then the murderer won't be caught. How can she face the elders of the Inua Palace? Okay, I agree. Dame Lianyu uses her devil sense to communicate. But our cooperation is only for catching the Heavenly Flames Fiend. That's natural. Reverend Ming Liang's face has a trace of a smile finally. Reverend Ming Liang speaks. Just now they were only using their immortal sense to communicate. Now they can discuss openly. Wukong Shui. Is the Heavenly Flames Fiend's ability to escape very powerful? Reverend Ming Liang says with a light smile. Wukong Shui suddenly remembers that time, nods and says, that Heavenly Flames Fiend was hit by my attack. But in the end he disappeared very suddenly. Even my devil sense couldn't find him. You should know that at that time the space was still in shock. I really can't imagine how he escaped. Reverend Ming Liang says. Now that Heavenly Flames Fiend burned down my Qingshu mountain, he's being chased by my junior brother Ming Shan. Even though my junior brother Ming Shan didn't catch him, but he's been following him. I think we should join forces to catch him first. Wukong Shui's mouth has a trace of a sarcastic smile. Just as he was about to speak, Dame Lian Yu interjects. Good. Dame Lian Yu's eyes flashed with hatred. Her voice is extremely angry. That Heavenly Flames Fiend destroyed my Inua Palace's gate. My disciples died 99%. I Lian Yu and he cannot live under the same sky. If I don't catch this Heavenly Flames Fiend, I won't have the face to see my elders. Dame Lian Yu says again. Ming Liang, you listen. I only agreed to temporarily cooperate in catching Heavenly Flames Fiend. Of course, of course. Reverend Ming Liang smiles and nods. Master Wukong Shui, this Heavenly Flames Fiend and my Inua Palace have a big grudge. I agree to cooperate with Ming Liang. Master Wukong Shui won't mind, right? Even though Wukong Shui is slightly angry, but Dame Lian Yu's position in the Loose Devil team is actually not lower than his. Even though Wukong Shui is very powerful, he is only one person. And Dame Lian Yu is the leader of the Inua Palace. The Devil World's Devil Emperor personally ordered Dame Lian Yu to take charge of matters related to the Heaven Sundering diagram. Of course her position is high. And Wukong Shui also wants to kill that Heavenly Flames Fiend quickly. Of course I won't mind, Reverend Ming Liang. If the two of us work together, I believe that Heavenly Flames Fiend will definitely die. Wukong Shui smiles and looks at Reverend Ming Liang. Hey, it seems this is the first time the two of us work together. Reverend Ming Liang nods and says, it is indeed the first time. Immediately after the two sides reached an agreement, temporarily stopping the battle, at the same time with Reverend Ming Liang and Wukong Shui as the leaders, Dame Lian Yu, Fire Devil, Reverend Lan Bing, Shui Yu Yang and the others as the support of the super expert camp together set off. The two sides' strongest experts take action. If they want to make a move, they must succeed in one hit. Times in a world of white snow, a black light and 5 white lights, one in front and one behind, are chasing after each other. Up to now, Qinyu has already flown for millions of miles. The total number of schools that have been destroyed has reached more than 30. Among the 30 destroyed schools, there is even a school of one of the 5 loose immortals that chased after Qinyu. Reverend Ming Shan agreed to compensate with all kinds of treasures. Only then did he convince that loose immortal. Heavenly Flames Fiend, if you have the ability then don't run. Not only Reverend Ming Shan, even the other 4 loose immortals are angry. Along the way, the 4 loose immortals also destroyed many schools, even inadvertently killed many Zyuxianists. And the schools that Qinyu chose are all Zyuxianist schools. The 5 loose immortals can see that this Heavenly Flames Fiend did it on purpose. If you have the ability then catch me, haha, only know how to shout, what's the use? Qinyu laughs loudly, but halfway through, Qinyu's voice suddenly stops. Laugh again, Heavenly Flames Fiend, laugh again. A familiar evil voice rises. A large amount of blood clouds are floating in the sky. The smell of blood is even more diffusing. Those blood clouds quickly condense into a blood-red robe. The number 1 expert of the Xioma path, Wukong Shui, is standing in the air, looking at Qinyu with a cold smile. Like looking at a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. You are the Heavenly Flames Fiend. Another cold voice rises. Moon-white robe, deep serene eyes, the body's aura condensed to the extreme, and Wukong Shui are the 2 extremes. One is violent, one is calm, one is arrogant to the extreme, one is condensed to the extreme. This person is the number 1 immortal Reverend Ming Liang. no matter how calm Reverend Ming Liang is. At this moment, looking at Qin Yu's eyes also contain unprecedented killing intent. Almost at the same time, a shadow appears at the same time. The seductive and noble Dame Lien Yu, the arrogant Wu Hei, who practices the Black Devil path, the fiery Fire Devil, the elegant Reverend Lan Bing, the calm Shui Yu Yang, the murderous Reverend Qi Yang. The loose immortal side, the loose devil side super experts gathered in one place, in this world of ice and snow. Everyone's eyes are completely focused on one person. A mysterious person who dares to burn down the number one sect of the devil path. The number one sect of the immortal path, Heavenly Flames Fiend. Chapter 256. Being surrounded and watched by so many loose immortals and loose devils, Qin Yu is not nervous at all. Instead, he seems to be talking and laughing calmly. What ability do I have to be able to make so many loose immortals and loose devils disregard their enmity and gather together in one place? Heavenly Flames Fiend, good courage, Wukong Shui said with an evil smile. Wait. Qin Yu reached out his hand. Heavenly Flames Fiend? Who are you calling? Wukong Shui was startled. Qin Yu said with a bit of sarcasm. I really don't know what's going on with you loose immortals and loose devils. You don't know where I came from, and you don't know my name. You gave me the nickname, Heavenly Flames Fiend, without permission. To be honest, this nickname is really vulgar. Seeing Qin Yu being surrounded by so many people can still talk and laugh so naturally. Even if Reverend Ming Liang hated Qin Yu to the core, he could not help but admire Qin Yu's courage. Oh right, it seems that before someone gave me the nickname, Heavenly Flames Fiend, Qin Yu looked at everyone. Reverend. Generally only the respected loose immortals can be called Reverend. Mentioning this, Reverend Ming Liang's face turned slightly ugly. When he knew that Qin Yu burned down the Inua Mountains, he was very happy and excited. He also regarded Heavenly Flames Fiend as the pride of the loose immortals. Who would have thought that his school would also be destroyed? You don't talk nonsense here. Reverend Ming Liang's face sank. You destroyed my Qingshu Mountain, almost burned my Qingshu Temple disciples. Today I must kill you to avenge those dead disciples. Dame Lien Yu's face also turned cold. Heavenly Flames Fiend, you burned the Inua Mountains and destroyed my Inua Palace. If I don't kill you, how can I face my elders? Want to kill, come do it. Qin Yu said very easily, as if death had no threat to him. Qin Yu suddenly said with a doubtful look, but Reverend Ming Liang, you want to kill me, and that Dame Lien Yu also wants to kill me. But I only have one life, who will kill me? This is indeed a difficult problem. Wukong Shui and Reverend Ming Liang both feel extremely strange. This Heavenly Flames Fiend's origin is mysterious. His magical powers are strange. Even his speech is so strange. It was as if he didn't care that everyone was going to kill him. Reverend Ming Liang, if you are willing to hand over this Heavenly Flames Fiend to me, my Inua Palace will offer you 3 low-grade immortal items. How about it? Dame Lien Yu said to Reverend Ming Liang. Clearly, this Dame Lien Yu wanted to capture Qin Yu for revenge. Although low-grade immortal equipment is precious, it is still possible for an expert of Dame Lien Yu's level to refine. However, it requires some precious materials. No. Reverend Ming Liang did not hesitate in the slightest. Dame Lien Yu's face slightly changed. Reverend Ming Liang continued. Lien Yu, this Heavenly Flames Fiend is extremely mysterious. Even when surrounded by all of us, he didn't have the slightest bit of worry. Don't forget that he once escaped with his life from Wukong Shui's hands. If you waste any more time, he might be able to successfully use some kind of secret technique to escape. Very likely, he is now secretly preparing some kind of escape secret technique. Reverend Ming Liang looked at Qin Yu. How do you know? Qin Yu had a surprised look. Reverend Ming Liang lightly smiled. Don't be so pretentious. You think I don't know you are preparing to escape? You think you are smart. Qin Yu said disdainfully. Now Reverend Ming Liang, Wukong Shui and the others are all surrounding Qin Yu. In their view, Qin Yu is already in the bag. The loose immortals and loose devils top experts are all gathered here. They simply do not believe that anyone can stop them. Now the only thing they were worried about was who would kill Qin Yu. Reverend Ming Liang looked at Dame Lian Yu and said, Lian Yu, I know you and I both hate this Heavenly Flames fiend. If we are in a deadlock like this, I don't know when we can kill this Heavenly Flames fiend. I think, why don't we attack the Heavenly Flames fiend together? No matter who kills him, it will be considered revenge. How about it? Dame Lian Yu pondered for a moment. No matter what, Reverend Ming Liang's position is extremely high. To be able to say such compromising words is already rare. She cannot go too far. Since Reverend Ming Liang has said so, then I will also take a step back. Good, the two of us will attack this Qin Yu together. No matter who kills him, it will be considered revenge. Saying so, a purple sword appeared in Dame Lian Yu's hand. Reverend Ming Liang's eyes brightened. Purple Dawn sword. Even the Yingyue Palace's most precious treasure is used. Then I can't hide my strength. A sword tip slowly emerged from Reverend Ming Liang's palm. This is a broken sword tip, only an inch long. Since Reverend Ming Liang started practicing stellar art, he usually only uses extremely condensed immortal elemental energy when fighting. He rarely uses weapons. This time he took out his immortal artifact. Haha! Qin Yu laughed loudly. Acting recklessly, the loose immortals and loose devils looked at Qin Yu, as if they were looking at a dead man. Qin Yu said with a smile, Reverend Ming Liang and Dame Lian, you took out such precious weapons. Looks like they are determined to win. But my fighting ability is not considered high in my school, but my escaping ability is very strong. At this moment, Qin Yu still does not care at all. Then I'll see how you're going to escape. Lian Yu attack. Reverend Ming Liang shouted coldly. At the same time, the 1-inch sword tip in his hand turned into a dot of resplendent light and shot towards Qin Yu. Dame Lian Yu's eyes were also burning with anger. Without showing any mercy, the purple dawn sword in her hand turned into a purple ray of light and shot towards Qin Yu. When Reverend Ming Liang and Dame Lian Yu attacked, a dark green ray of light shot over from afar. Its speed was so fast that it was simply shocking. Looking at the speed and direction of this dark green ray of light, it was very easy to determine. This dark green ray of light was about to collide with Reverend Ming Liang's 1-inch sword tip. There's another expert, Wu Kongxue, who was already prepared for accidents, swung his hand and shot out a blood-red ray of light. It went diagonally and collided with that dark green ray of light one step ahead. This Wu Kongxue let Qin Yu escape last time, so naturally, he was very careful this time. Bang! Wu Kongxue's long-prepared attack was actually on par with that dark green ray of light that suddenly appeared. When the two collided, the space completely shook, and even a very thin crack appeared. This caused Wu Kongxue to be uncontrollably shocked by the strength of the person who came to be able to be on par with him. How many people are there in the mortal world? Dame Lian Yu and Reverend Ming Liang's attacks naturally landed on Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu's face had a trace of a bright smile. Showing such a bright smile right before death, Wu Kongxue, Fire Devil, Wu Hei, Reverend Lan Bing, Shui Yuyang, and the other experts around could not help but feel extremely strange. Lord of Black Flame's ring gravitational field. Within 10 meters of Qin Yu, he had already set up a gravitational field. Once that 1-inch sword point and purple dawn sword entered the gravitational field, their attacking positions were involuntarily affected. Qin Yu's body also tried to dodge upwards. Puchi! The purple dawn sword pierced through Qin Yu's thigh. That 1-inch sword point pierced through Qin Yu's waist. Originally Reverend Ming Liang and Dame Lian, you were both attacking Qin Yu's dantian. Bang! Qin Yu's thigh and waist both exploded. 2 frightening holes appeared on his body. Blood dyed Qin Yu's entire body. Qin Yu's entire body powerlessly fell into the endless snow below like a broken sandbag. Let's see if you're not dead. Dame Lian Yu and Reverend Ming Liang watched Qin Yu fall into the snow and prepared to attack again. However, at this moment, Dame Lian Yu, Wu Kongxue, Reverend Ming Liang, and the others all saw Qin Yu fall into the snow and unexpectedly raise his head to look at them with a brilliant smile. Not good. Wu Kongxue felt a wave of unease. They saw that once Qin Yu touched the snow, his entire body actually completely disappeared. Only a trace of Qin Yu's blood was left on the snow where Qin Yu fell. But Qin Yu himself had completely disappeared. disappeared in front of so many experts. He escaped. Wu Kongxue, Dame Lian Yu Fire Devil, Reverend Ming Liang, and the other experts' first reaction was to use their immortal sense and devil sense to search. 12th Tribulation experts. Their immortal sense and devil senses range is very wide. He definitely didn't teleport. Just now when I fought with the mysterious expert, the space is still in shock. He definitely can't teleport. But where did he run to? Wu Kongshue's eyes radiated light as he looked around carefully. Reverend Ming Liang and the other experts were all in disbelief. Right under their eyes, that heavily injured Heavenly Flames fiend just disappeared like that. Wu Kongxue, what's going on? How could that Heavenly Flames fiend escape? Even if it was me in such a situation, it's absolutely impossible to escape silently. Now the space is still in shock. He can't teleport. How did he escape? Burrowing, in such a short time. How could he escape the range of my immortal sense? Reverend Ming Liang was going crazy. Dame Lian Yu was also angry to the point of wanting to kill someone. How could that Heavenly Flames fiend escape? Dame Lian Yu's heart was full of hatred. Wu Kongshue's mouth showed a trace of a bitter smile. Helplessly said, "You don't know, last time that Heavenly Flames fiend also fell to the ground after being hit by my attack. But in a blink of an eye he completely disappeared. I couldn't find him at all." Wu Hei said in surprise. He has this kind of ability? No wonder he said his escaping skills are very high. Suddenly all the loose immortals and loose devils recalled what Qin Yu said. Haha, everyone, didn't I say my escaping skills are very strong? Qin Yu's voice suddenly rang out at this time, resounding through heaven and earth. It's Heavenly Flames fiend. Dame Lian Yu said in shock. Wu Kongxue and Reverend Ming Liang were shocked. Wu Hei Fire Devil, Shui Yang and other experts all had a face of disbelief. All the experts could not help but use their devil sense and immortal sense to search again, but still could not find any trace of Qin Yu's aura. Don't look, you can't find me. Reverend Ming Liang, Dame Lian Yu. Actually, I don't like you loose devils and loose immortals. So this time I came out to burn down your Qingshu Mountain and Inua Mountain. Since I've burned down the #1 immortal sect and the #1 devil sect, I'm satisfied. From now on, I won't appear again. Qin Yu's slightly smiling voice sounded between heaven and earth. Wu Kongxue, Reverend Ming Liang, and other loose immortals were very impatient. They clearly heard the voice of this Heavenly Flames fiend, but they simply could not find him. Won't come out. Dame Lian Yu was very anxious. Doesn't this mean I won't be able to take revenge in the future? Reverend Ming Liang was also very angry. Smart. From now on you won't be able to find me. Naturally, you'll also never be able to take revenge. Qin Yu's voice sounded again. Well, I don't have time to waste with you. I have a lot of things to do, everyone, goodbye. After saying that, Qin Yu's voice slowly disappeared between heaven and earth. From the moment Qin Yu said these words, those loose immortals and loose immortals all used their devil sense and immortal sense to search, but still could not find any trace of Qin Yu's aura. He's gone, it's impossible to find him. Wu Kongxue shook his head. When Wu Kongxue chased Qin Yu, it was the same situation. Heavenly Flames fiend. If you have the ability, then run. I Lian Yu swear. Even if I can't take revenge, my Inua Palace's disciples will always remember this great humiliation. One day, my Inua Palace will definitely return with interest. Dame Lian Yu seemed a little hysterical. Unless you never come out and be a coward otherwise. Reverend Ming Liang's face was also livid. Haha. Well, since you've said such ruthless words, if I don't respond, others will think I'm a coward. Qin Yu's voice sounded again. Reverend Ming Liang and Dame Lian Yu's faces could not help but show a trace of a smile. They were most worried that the Heavenly Flames fiend would just disappear like this. At that time, how would they take revenge? It seems their provocation was still very useful. Good, very good. Qin Yu's cold laughter sounded. Reverend Ming Liang, Dame Lian Yu, you've been fighting for so long, isn't it, for the Heaven Sundering Diagram? But you've never dared to disclose the secret of the Heaven Sundering Diagram. Why don't you dare to disclose it? Reverend Ming Liang, Dame Lian Yu and other experts who knew about it all trembled in their hearts. Can the existence of Ni Yang realm be disclosed? Once it is disclosed, the strongest power in the mortal world, chaotic astral ocean, will most likely join in. Once that evil and invincible expert Zhongju joins in, then it will be terrible. Whether it's Wu Kongxue or Reverend Ming Liang, in front of Zhongju, they will all have to stand aside. Ni Yang Realm, TSK, a level 8 mystic immortal super immortal's nest. The treasures inside must be earth-shattering. Qin Yu's voice sounded again. How did he know? Dame Lian Yu and others were shocked. Didn't you threaten me? Very good. Originally I thought burning the number 1 immortal sect and devil sect was enough. But now it seems that Tenglong continent is still not chaotic enough. Then I'll add fuel to the fire. I also have some friendship with Devil Peng Island's Zhongju. If I tell him this news, I believe Tenglong continent will be even more lively. Let's make this bloody storm even more violent, haha. Qin Yu's bright laughter disappeared from the sword tip. Dame Lian Yu, Reverend Ming Liang and others all had solemn faces. The strongest chaotic astral ocean will join in, and that Zhongju, Tenglong continent will face an unprecedented bloody storm. Reverend Ming Liang, who is familiar with chaotic astral ocean's strength, began to regret. In the end his and Dame Lian Yu's provocation seemed to have backfired. Wu Kongshue's face was solemn. Remember when we killed Heavenly Flame's fiend? There was a dark green light. That person's power is definitely no less than mine. Immediately, Reverend Ming Liang remembered that dark green light. An expert no less than Wu Kongxue. Who could it be? The strongest chaotic astral ocean, the invincible Zhongju. At the same time, the dragon clan hiding in the dark has not made a move, the invincible Fang Tian. And this mysterious Heavenly Flame's fiend, that mysterious expert who emitted the dark green light. Tenglong continent will enter an unprecedented period of chaos. The real bloody storm, the real chaotic slaughter, had only just begun. Chapter 257. In the air above the vast snowy land, Wu Kongxue, Dame Lian Yu, Fire Devil, Wu Hei and the other loose devils and Reverend Ming Liang, Reverend Ming Shan, Reverend Lan Bing, Shui Yuyang and the other loose immortals are preparing to separate. Reverend Ming Liang. That Heavenly Flame's fiend actually knows the secret of Ni Yang Realm. This person is very mysterious. Maybe he really knows Devil Peng Island's Zhongju. Dame Lian Yu seems to have a lot on her mind. Zhongju, Devil Peng Island's master. The number 1 person in the chaotic astral ocean. Zhongju's name alone makes the experts present feel as if their hearts are being pressed by a stone. Wu Kongxue nods. That Heavenly Flame's fiend acts mysteriously, even daring to set fire to Inua Palace and Qingxi Temple's gates. This person dares to do anything. And he also knows the secret of Ni Yang Realm. It would be strange if he didn't tell Zhongju. All loose immortals and devils nod. Heavenly Flame's fiend gives them the feeling that he is not afraid of anything. The kind of person who dares to do anything. And don't forget, the person who released the green light to save Heavenly Flame's fiend, that person is also very strong. Wu Kongxue reminds everyone. Reverend Ming Liang ponders for a moment and says, Wu Kongxue, Lian Yu, I have a feeling that in the coming days, Tenglong continent will no longer be our Tenglong continent. All the hidden powers will step into Tenglong continent. If we fight each other at this time, it will only benefit others. Everyone present can't help but nod in agreement. Everyone feels the pressure. In the future, there will be even more bloody battles. Now the most important thing for us is to preserve our strength. Ming Liang, even though we have been fighting each other for a long time, most of the dead are ordinary loose immortals. The number of strong loose immortals is not many. We only lost 20 to 30% of our strength. Dame Lian Yu says, I think we should stop fighting for now. We must not let the Dragon Clan, Chaotic Astral Ocean, and other hidden powers take advantage of us. Reverend Ming Liang ponders and nods. What Lian Yu said makes sense. Wu Kongxue also doesn't disturb the situation. Because at the moment Wu Kongxue also feels the pressure. Not only the sneak attack just now. There are also 2 invincible existences. Dragon Clan leader Fang Tian, Devil Peng Island's master Zhongju. After this battle, The loose immortals and loose immortals side temporarily stop fighting. Times high up in the clouds, Yu Liang gazed at the place where the loose immortals and loose devils had gathered a moment ago. Master, why did you save the heavenly flames fiend just now? Wu Shan frowned. The person who wanted to save Qin Yu was Yu Liang. But for Yu Liang to save Qin Yu in front of so many people was too difficult. Later, Yu Liang saw the mysterious heavenly flames fiend escape and did not pursue. Wu Shan, that heavenly flames fiend is not an ordinary person. Yu Liang says with a smile. To be able to release so much heavenly flame, and even burn down the entire Inua mountain range in Mount Qingshu, you must be a genius. Even under the joint attack of the loose immortals and loose devils, he was still able to easily escape. Kong Chao, the head of the 3 demons under Yu Liang, nodded. This heavenly flame fiend cannot be provoked. Why not? Wu Shan was the least intelligent of the 3 monsters. One of the 3 great demons, Xingshou, laughed. Think about it. This heavenly flames fiend may not be strong, but his ability to escape is absolutely unparalleled. And he also has the unique skill of releasing heavenly flame. If anyone provokes him, he will burn down your lair with heavenly flame. You can't catch him, how can you provoke him? Wu Shan suddenly realized. This heavenly flames fiend really can't be provoked. You can't catch him. If you provoke him, he will release heavenly flame to burn your lair. Yes, his power is not that great, but he is also a person who cannot be provoked. Yu Liang nodded. At first I wanted to save this heavenly flames fiend and make him my subordinate, but he has such a skill of escaping. I think it will be very difficult to recruit this person. Making people afraid does not necessarily require a strong attack power, as long as you have an ability that makes people unable to do anything to you. After the Inua Palace and Qingshu Temple were burned down, the entire Tunglong continent's countless self-cultivators knew the name, Heavenly Flames Fiend. No matter which school, the list of people who cannot be offended was written down by the Heavenly Flames Fiend. Even Wu Kongxue, Reverend Ming Liang, and the others together could not catch him. Who can? He can destroy your lair with heavenly flame. Who dares to provoke him? Because of this, Heavenly Flames Fiend became a legendary figure in the Tunglong continent, most famous for his mysterious escape skills and ability to control heavenly flame. Times there are countless snowflakes on the vast snowy ground. Under the snow is moist soil, and one of the soil is the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Inside the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, in a small courtyard, the 3 brothers Qingyu, Hou Fei and Kuro are drinking, and Shi Bing, Shi Xian, Shi Zhan and the Ink Qilin are also eating and drinking in a nearby courtyard. Big brother, you are really insidious, saying you have an escape ability, but in fact you are hiding in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, haha. But this is still an incredible escape method. How could that Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue know we are here? Hou Fei seems very proud. Qin Yu at the moment has no injuries on his body. His super recovery ability makes him almost immortal. It is really abnormal. It's just that what I said just now scared them. They actually stopped fighting. Qin Yu smiles indifferently. As the owner of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, outsiders cannot investigate the inside of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. But Qin Yu can easily know everything that is happening outside. Just now when the loose immortals and loose devils were talking above the snowy ground, Qin Yu heard everything clearly. Kuro slightly frowns. Big brother, you said you will tell the Devil Peng Island about the existence of the Inai Yang realm. You really will? Hou Fei also looks at Qin Yu. Of course, with the chaotic astral ocean joining in, isn't this more interesting? Qin Yu smiles again. What's more, the 3 island masters of the Devil Peng Island of the chaotic astral ocean have a close relationship with me. Even though this Inai Yang realm is dangerous, but at the same time it is also a great opportunity. Letting friends participate is better than letting enemies enter the Inai Yang realm, isn't it? In the future, Qin Yu and his brothers will also step into the Inai Yang realm. At that time, the more friends that enter the Inai Yang realm, the safer Qin Yu and the rest will be. The 3 brothers chatted for a while. Then Qin Yu takes out a transmission talisman and sends a message to the Devil Peng Island Master Zhongju. Even though the Qingyu Immortal Mansion has the function of isolating transmission, Qingyu is the owner of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, so naturally he will not be affected by this restriction. The chaotic astral ocean is a vast and boundless ocean, and who knows how many loose practitioners are there. The Devil Pung Island, the head of the 3 strongest islands of the chaotic astral ocean, is as quiet as always. No one dares to come to the Devil Pung Island to be arrogant, not only because the 3,000 loose practitioners of the Devil Pung Island are strong, but also because of the twin Azura devils. The most important thing is still the legendary invincible Zhongju, the #1 person in the chaotic astral ocean in reality. Inside the Golden Feather Palace, Zhongju flips his hand and takes out a transmission talisman. Oh, it's actually little friend Qingyu. Senior Lan said that little brother Qingyu will bring me a good opportunity. I don't know when that opportunity will come. Zhongju smiles faintly and starts to communicate with Qingyu through the transmission talisman, but after a short while, Zhongju's indifferent expression changes. Little brother Qingyu, is what you said true? In I Yang's realm, the lair left behind by a level 8 mystic immortal sword immortal emperor in Aiyang? At this moment, Zhongju is like a poor man seeing an endless mountain of gold. Immortals are divided into 3 levels: Sky Immortal, Golden Immortal, and Mystic Immortal. Each level is divided into 9 levels. A level 8 Mystic Immortal is already in existence that looks down on the immortal world. And this immortal emperor in Aiyang is actually a level 8 Mystic Immortal Sword Immortal. This kind of expert is definitely one of the top few in the immortal world, devil world, and demon world. What kind of treasure would be left behind by such a person? Senior Zhong, don't worry. Junior is 100% sure that it is the lair of a level 8 Mystic Immortal Sword Immortal, and the treasures inside are even more shocking. Qingyu's transmission makes Zhongju's heart excited. I'm afraid there is a divine artifact. Zhongju is slightly excited. As a super divine beast Golden Wing Great Pung, Zhongju knows a lot of secrets. The immortal world, devil world, and demon world are all in the same space. They only occupy a part of that huge space. The top existences of the immortal, devil, and demon world all have divine artifacts. To enter in I Yang's realm, you must gather 3 heaven-sundering diagrams. Of these 3 heaven-sundering diagrams, one is in the hands of the Dragon Clan, one is in the hands of the loose immortals, and one is in the hands of the loose devils. To obtain them, there is a certain degree of difficulty. Qingyu carefully explained everything. What 3 heaven-sundering diagrams? Zhongju slightly frowns. Looking at the information regarding the heaven-sundering diagrams that Qingyu sent, Zhongju slightly ponders for a moment. After that, Zhongju and Qingyu carefully discuss many details. Senior Lan is right. Little brother Qingyu has indeed brought me a good opportunity. Zhongju's eyes shine, suddenly standing up from his seat. I haven't fought for many years. My hands are almost itching. Zhongju's eyes flashed with a trace of fierce light. The golden-winged Great Pung is a vicious bird. Its ferocity is extremely terrifying. Before Zhongju met Uncle Lan, he was also a domineering person filled with killing intent. However, after getting along with Uncle Lan, Zhongju's temperament has been tempered and is already very restrained. However, the ferocity in his bones has always been hidden in the deepest part. A dog that bites does not bark. It has the same meaning. This usually calm Zhongju is even more terrifying than the Zhongju, who was filled with killing intent in the past. Second sister, Lian Xiao, quickly come over. Zhongju directly transmits his voice. In merely a moment, the 12th tribulation loose devil Hu Yi and her husband Lian Xiao have already rushed over. Big brother, what's the matter that's so urgent? Hui says with a smile. Ever since her big brother and Senior Lan got along for a period of time, her big brother's personality has become a lot more restrained and is rarely this excited. Big event, big happy event, haha. Zhongju cannot help laughing out loud. Hu Yi and Lian Xiao look at each other, they are curious. In the end, what matter can make their big brother so happy? Do you still remember? At that time, my subordinates reported to me that many loose practitioners belonging to the Tung Long continent rushed back. The loose immortals and loose devils of the Tongue-Long continent are fighting each other for some heaven-sundering diagram? Zhongju asks in reply. Hu Yi and Lian Xiao nod. Of course I remember. It's just a diagram. What's so great about it? Hu Yi says with a faint smile. Although they know that the loose immortals and loose devils are fighting for it, this heaven-sundering diagram is definitely precious. But because the experts of the chaotic astral ocean don't know what's so precious about it, they are disinclined to participate. The heaven-sundering diagram is related to a treasure, the lair of a level 8 mystic immortal sword immortal emperor. Zhongju says with a smile. Level 8 mystic immortal. Hu Yi and Lian Xiao are almost scared silly. Big brother, did you say it wrong? A level 8 golden immortal is already very amazing. A lair of a level 8 mystic immortal? Hu Yi and Lian Xiao simply can't believe it. Moreover, this immortal emperor is the sword immortal with the strongest attack power. A level 8 mystic immortal sword immortal. Zhongju can't help but sigh. Second sister Lian Xiao. Those 3 heaven-sundering diagrams contain the map to the mystic immortal's lair. Hu Yi and Lian Xiao's eyes can't help but brighten. Although they stand at the top of the mortal world, once their strength ascends to the upper world, they are nothing. If they can get some treasures from the lair of a level 8 mystic immortal, it will not be difficult to become a feudal lord in the upper world. No matter where it is, strength is the most important. Second sister. Immediately notify Drifting Cloud Islands Fu Yunzi and Black Wind Islands Shihua, the 2 brothers. At the same time, use my command to summon all the experts of the chaotic astral ocean to my Devil Pung Island. Our chaotic astral ocean doesn't move, but once we move, we must get something. Zhongju's eyes are shining. Yes, big brother. Hu Yi's heart is also excited. The strength of the chaotic astral ocean's 3 big islands is already very strong, and those forces inferior to the 3 big islands also have many experts. Once they gather together, it will be an extremely terrifying force. It's been a long time since I've personally fought. Many people have almost forgotten me. Zhongju takes a deep breath, his eyes looking through the gate of Golden Wing Palace to the distance. Zhongju is the spiritual pillar of the chaotic astral ocean. Many experts worship Zhongju. Following Zhongju's command, the experts of the 3 big islands of the chaotic astral ocean, as well as the top 10 forces, one by one gather towards the Devil Pung Island. Devil Pung Island's master Zhongju's command. Who dares to disobey? Unprecedented, because of Zhongju's command, the chaotic astral ocean has gathered together unprecedentedly. In terms of experts, Tongue-Long continent's loose immortals and loose devils combined cannot compare with the chaotic astral ocean. In the vast chaotic astral ocean, countless experts have been born one by one, and the leader is the invincible existence of the mortal world Zhongju. Chapter 258. The remaining several tens of thousands of loose devils majestically fly towards the Inue mountain range. Since the loose devils and loose immortals have stopped fighting, naturally the loose devil army no longer needs to fight. At the front of the loose devil army are Wu Kongxue, Dame Lianyu, Wu Hei, Fire Devil and the others. Wu Kongxue. Now that we've stopped fighting with the loose immortals, and the time for the devil emissary to descend to the mortal world is approaching, should we protect the heaven-sundering diagram like this until the emissary arrives? Dame Lianyu says via holy sense. Wu Kongxue is startled. Devil emissary descending to the mortal world? When? How come I don't know? Wu Kongxue seems to be very sensitive about the devil emissary descending to the mortal world. Dame Lianyu says via holy sense. The devil emissaries naturally have a special way to communicate with us. As for when they'll descend to the mortal world, to be honest, I'm also not very clear. I only know one thing. The time for the devil emissary to descend to the mortal world is approaching. Wu Kongxue nods. Lianyu, do you know how the devil emissaries descend to the mortal world? As far as I know, it's very difficult to cross the barrier between the 2 worlds. Wu Kongxue asks in reply. Dame Lianyu ponders for a while. Wu Kongxue, I also know that it's very difficult to go from one world to another. But the devil emperor told me that there would definitely be a devil emissary descending to the mortal world. Since the Devil Emperor said so, of course I won't doubt it. But maybe it's because descending to the mortal world is very difficult that the Devil Emissary hasn't descended to the mortal world yet. Dame Lianyu guesses. According to Dame Lianyu's thinking, if descending to the mortal world was easy, given how much the Devil Emperor valued a mortal emperor in I Yang's treasure, he would have already sent someone to descend to the mortal world. A few days ago, the Devil Emissary even ordered me to protect the Heaven Sundering diagram. The day for the emissary to descend is not far away. Dame Lianyu says with a sigh, for these top experts of the mortal world, facing the emissary from the immortal world is actually a very difficult task. Let's not care about descending to the mortal world for the time being. What we need to do now is to rebuild the Inua mountain range. This is not only for the Yu Palace, but also for the place where the loose devils live. Wu Kongxue says to this point and frowns. After all, he couldn't let the loose devils live in the wilderness. It was just that the Inua mountain range was still under construction. Is the Yu mountain range? Dame Lianyu is very annoyed. After being burned to such a state by the heavenly fire, even the rocks were charred, and there was no soil left at all. How could one plant trees and plants in such a mountain range? How could one build a mountain gate? A sect that had existed for 1,000,000 years had been reduced to such a state. Who wouldn't be angry? Heavenly Flame's fiend. Thinking of the culprit, Dame Lianyu could not help but gnash her teeth. As they flew forward, the loose devil army finally arrived at the Inua mountain range. Your Highness, something bad has happened. A loose devil of the Inua Palace, who is investigating the situation in the surroundings, hurriedly rushes to the front of Dame Lianyu in shock. Dame, the lucky loose devils, and the lucky disciples of the Inua mountain range are all dead. They're all dead. Dame Lianyu's devil sense had already discovered all of this. Her whole body began to tremble. The newly built buildings in the Inua mountain range were covered in blood, and corpses were scattered everywhere. When Qinyu burned down the entire Inua mountain range with his heavenly flame, there were still quite a few loose devil experts who survived. Afterwards, when Wu Kongxue brought experts back, there were still several hundred loose devils and several hundred disciples of the Inua Palace in the Inua mountain range. These loose devils and disciples then rebuilt the sect here. Who would have thought that when they came back today, they would find that these people were all dead? The last batch of disciples also died. Dame Lianyu felt her heart tremble. Wu Kongxue's face was gloomy. After carefully observing for a while using his devil sense, he says, Lianyu, the people who launched the attack were very few. I estimate there were only 2 or 3 people who launched the attack. It's just that these 2 or 3 people were too strong. So strong that they killed everyone. And these several hundred loose devils and disciples did not have time to send out a message for help. On the way back, no one received a message for help. Obviously, this batch of loose devils and the lucky disciples did not have time to call for help when they were killed. Who is it in the end? Even my Inua Palace's last batch of disciples were killed. Dame Lianyu's whole body exudes a terrifying killing intent. Now in the Inua Palace, other than the loose devils, the remaining disciples are probably the individual disciples scattered outside. Wu Kongxue also frowns. Fire Devil suddenly says, Brother Wu, what about the Heaven Sundering diagram? Did you put it on these ordinary loose devils? Immediately, the several big loose devils all look at Wu Kongxue. If Wu Kongxue really put the Heaven Sundering diagram on those dead loose devils, it is very likely that it would have been snatched away by someone. No, of course not. Wu Kongxue says with a cold smile. Once bitten, twice shy. Now I've already put the Heaven Sundering diagram in a very safe place. No matter who it was, even if they racked their brains, they wouldn't be able to figure it out. Wu Kongxue appears to be very confident. Only now does the several big loose devils let out a long sigh of relief. Compared to the last several hundred disciples of the Inua Palace, the Heaven Sundering diagram is the most important. If the disciples die, they die. As long as the senior loose devils of the Inua Palace are still alive, they can take in new disciples again. It's just that it takes a very long time to train new disciples. How unlucky. I thought that Wu Kongxue had left the heaven-sundering diagram on those loose devils and disciples. Who would have thought that we still couldn't get the heaven-sundering diagram, even after killing them all? Wu Shan, one of the 3 great demons of the wilderness, says with a humph. It was Wu Shan's idea to kill the lucky survivors of the Yinhua Palace. It's rare for Wu Shan to use his brain. He thinks that maybe Wu Kongxue will leave the heaven-sundering diagram on an ordinary loose devil or disciple again. When he tells this idea to Yu Liang unexpectedly agrees. In fact, Yu Liang doesn't have much expectation in his heart. He only has a little bit of hope. It's never wrong to try. Therefore, this time the 3 great demons under Yu Liang's command are the ones who are going into action. Yu Liang himself does not go into action. Stop talking, Wu Shan. I'd be surprised if the heaven-sundering diagram was so easy to get. Yu Liang says with an indifferent smile. We'd better act according to our original plan. Times there are unexpectedly countless large trees and plants growing on the top of Mount Qingshu. Half a month ago, Mount Qingshu was still barren. But now, Mount Qingshu is almost the same as before. It is still as beautiful as ever. Even the holy land of the Qingshu Temple, Heavenly Palace, has been moved to the summit of Mount Qingshu again. In fact, Reverend Ming Liang mobilized several tens of thousands of loose immortals to use their magical powers to move large pieces of land directly to Mount Qingshu. They even moved several large trees directly to Mount Qingshu, together with more than 10 meters of soil. With the help of several tens of thousands of loose immortals, Mount Qingshu regained its former appearance in just a day. On the 9th floor of Heavenly Palace, Reverend Ming Liang himself is standing in the middle of the great formation on the 9th floor. Ming Liang, now the emperor-level experts of the devil realm and the demon realm, are preparing to send their people down to the mortal realm. Emperor Yu has also invited his friends to prepare to open the spatial barrier between the mortal realm and the immortal realm. It's just that it's very difficult to open the spatial barrier. Moreover, the more stable the spatial barrier is, the higher the power of the person who enters. Sigh, it's useless to say so much to you, Martial Granduncle. What instructions do you have for contacting the immortal realm this time? Reverend Ming Liang asks. The person talking to Reverend Ming Liang is his Martial Granduncle. In the immortal realm, the Qingshu Temple can't even be considered a power. It's just struggling at death's door. However, because the mortal realm's Qingshu Temple obtained a heaven-sundering diagram, the status of the Qingshu Temple's elders in the immortal realm immediately started to rise. Reverend Ming Liang's Martial Granduncle was specially arranged to communicate with him. In the eyes of the immortal realm's Emperor Yu, the status of Reverend Ming Liang's elders is far inferior to Reverend Ming Liang's. This time, I've contacted you to tell you that the immortal realm's emissary will probably descend to the mortal realm within a month. The location of his descent should be the Qingshu Temple's location. When the time comes, you must prepare to welcome him. Reverend Ming Liang's Martial Granduncle entrusts. Rest assured, Martial Granduncle, when have I ever disappointed you? Reverend Ming Liang says with a light smile. Isn't it just welcoming the emissary from the immortal realm? It's just a small matter. Reverend Ming Liang's Martial Granduncle says with a smile. That's right. You are indeed the most outstanding disciple of the Qingshu Temple in countless years. It's also because of you that the countless elders of the Qingshu Temple have had their lives changed dramatically in the immortal realm. Ming Liang, let me tell you, Emperor Yu's status in the immortal realm is very high. You can't go wrong by following him closely. I know. Reverend Ming Liang nods. Martial Granduncle, do you know how powerful the immortal realm's emissary is? Reverend Ming Liang asks. This Martial Granduncle ponders for a moment and says, Ming Liang, I'm also unable to determine how powerful the immortal realm's emissary is. That's because it's already very difficult to break the barrier between the two realms and open a temporary passageway. Only by making the passageway even more stable can it allow a powerful person to pass through. Ming Liang, in my opinion, breaking the barrier between the two realms is simply an inconceivable matter. It's just that for a top-notch existence like Emperor Yu, their abilities aren't something I can imagine. It should be possible for them, to break the barrier between the two realms. However, I think that the passageway formed won't be too stable. Therefore, it's impossible for a profound immortal level expert to pass through. The martial granduncle says with uncertainty. Reverend Ming Liang nods. He understands that the more powerful a person is, the more stable the passageway needed to pass through the barrier between the two realms. And the more stable a passageway is, the more difficult it is to form. And if an extremely powerful expert wants to pass through an unstable passageway, that unstable passageway won't be able to withstand it and will collapse. And that expert will also fall into the crevice between the two realms and be crushed by the energy of the spatial crevice. The fighting between the loose immortals and the loose devils temporarily stops. The entire Tung-Long continent temporarily enters a temporary period of peace. And regardless of whether it's the loose devils, loose immortals, or the dragon clan, they all receive messages from the immortal realm, saying that their respective emissaries will descend to the mortal world very soon. The emissaries of the immortal realm represent the experts of the immortal realm. How can their strength be ordinary? Chapter 259. No matter how chaotic the outside world is, this Qingyu immortal mansion is very quiet. Surrounded by spiritual energy, Qingyu sits cross-legged on the bed, quietly cultivating. Suddenly, Qingyu opens his eyes. A nimble halo moves in Qingyu's eyes. 5 months later, the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation will come in 5 months. I don't know how powerful the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation will be. Qingyu's eyes can't help but emit traces of excitement. The legendary most difficult 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation will come in 5 months. During this period of seclusion, Qingyu has made a lot of progress. His soul originally reached the peak of the late Dujia stage, but now it has reached the Deshang stage. He can even foresee the day of his 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation. Walking out of the house, he looks at the boundless sky of the immortal mansion. Tung-Long continent should be in a precarious situation now. I should also go out. Just don't know what the people of the chaotic astral ocean are doing now. Qingyu thinks for a moment, then turns around and walks towards his brother's residence. Times chaotic astral ocean, Demon Pung Island. Golden Feather Palace is holding a banquet. The guests who can attend this banquet are at least 10th Tribulation loose practitioners. Even so, there are still more than 50 people in Golden Feather Palace. Just from the number of 10th Tribulation and above experts, one can see the astonishing strength of the chaotic astral ocean. In terms of experts, even the loose devils and loose immortals added together are not as good as the chaotic astral ocean. The number 1 expert of the chaotic astral ocean, the invincible existence, Zhongju, is sitting in the main hall, with a faint smile on his face. Ladies and gentlemen, some time ago, the loose devils and loose immortals of the Tung-Long continent fought each other for the heaven-sundering diagram. It is actually worth them fighting like this. This heaven-sundering diagram must be an extraordinary treasure, and this island master is very interested in that heaven-sundering diagram. So I decided to participate. Zhongju doesn't want too many people to know about Nai Yang's realm. After all, the originally united chaotic astral ocean is very likely to become chaotic. Fu Yunzi sure too. What do you two island masters think? Zhongju doesn't ask other people, but asks the other 2 island masters of the chaotic astral ocean. Fu Yunzi, 12th Tribulation loose immortal, the head of the 3 island masters of Drifting Cloud Island. Petrify was the eldest of the 2 brothers on the Ravengale Island. The name Petrification, of a mythological beast of the 11th Tribulation, was very common. Because he was a mythological beast of the Petrification beast, it was very easy to come up with such a name. However, the power of the petrified beasts could be seen from the fact that the 2 brothers could be called the overlords of one of the 3 major islands. Since Brother Zong has said so, how could I not agree? Fu Yunzi always had a smile on his face. What's more, my chaotic astral ocean hasn't really fought for a long time. I reckon that those sects of the Tung-Long continent still think that they are amazing. It's time for them to understand the gap between us and them. The people of the chaotic astral ocean always think that they are far superior to other forces. Although he was overconfident, it was the truth. In the chaotic astral ocean, that boundless sea area, there were countless dangerous and treasured lands, and one after another, extraordinary experts were born. Brother Petrified, what do you say? Fu Yunzi looked at Petrified. Petrified has a dark face. He says with a simple and honest smile. I haven't really fought in the chaotic astral ocean for a long time. My hands are itching. Let's go to the Tung-Long continent for a stroll. Zhongju nods his head. The second master of the Devil Pung Island, Hu Yi, says with a smile. If my chaotic astral ocean doesn't fight, then we have to shock all the forces. There are a total of 3 pieces of the Heaven Sundering diagram. One of them is in the Dragon Clan. The difficulty of obtaining it is very high. The more than 50 people in the main hall all nod their heads. The patriarch of the Dragon Clan is an invincible expert on par with Zhongju. The other 2 pieces are much easier to obtain. One is in the hands of the Loose Devils, and the other is in the hands of the Loose Immortals. As Hui said this, the Loose Devils below begin to speak. The Loose Immortals and Loose Devils of the Tung-Long continent? Haha! Wouldn't it be fine if we directly snatched the Heaven Sundering diagrams from both sides? The leader of the 8th ranked force of the chaotic astral ocean, a 12th tribulation Loose Devil Suoli, says with a loud laugh. Suoli, do you think it's so easy to snatch? How could the side of Loose Devils and Loose Immortals not know the preciousness of this Heaven Sundering diagram? I think these 2 sides will certainly not hide this treasure on the person with the highest power. That way it would be too easy to expose. A seductive woman said with a smile. Hui says in agreement. What little sister Ji Qiao said is very reasonable. Even if we kill a large number of Loose Devils and Wu Kongxue, it will still be very difficult to find the Heaven Sundering diagram. If we go to deal with the Loose Immortals, our chances of success will be much higher. I think that Heaven Sundering diagram is most likely inside the 10 Development Illusionary Formation. The 10 Development Illusionary Formation. The Loose Immortals believe that there will be absolutely no problems, so naturally, they will put the Heaven Sundering diagram inside the formation. What little sister said is reasonable. If we want to start the first battle, we have to go to Mount Qingshu. Zhongju says. Another 12th tribulation Loose Devil below says with a frown. Brother Zhong, Mount Qingshu's heavenly palace is protected by the 10 Development Illusionary Formation. It will be very difficult to break it. This 12th tribulation Loose Devil is called Yi Zong. He is one of the top figures in the entire chaotic astral ocean. Zhongju's face turns cold. Oh, you think I can't break that 10 Development Illusionary Formation? Zhongju asks back. Yi Zong cannot help but feel a chill in his heart. He quickly says, of course not. Who would doubt Brother Zhong's strength? Just now I was confused, now I'm awake. This 10 Development Illusionary Formation is very powerful in front of me. But in front of Brother Zhong, it is nothing. Zhongju nods indifferently. There are a total of 5 12th Tribulation Loose practitioners in the chaotic astral ocean. Hu Yi Fu Yunzi, Suoli, Ji Qiao and Yi Zong. Of course, other than Zhongju, the 5 strongest people are not all these 5 people. For example, the 11th Tribulation Divine Beast Petrify. Apart from Hu Yi who can barely beat him, the other 4 people cannot defeat Petrify. The 12th Tribulation Loose practitioners also have some powerful divine beasts. Zhongju indeed has a lot of super experts under his command. Zhongju frowns in the main hall. Suddenly Zhongju says in a clear voice, everyone please enjoy your meal. I have something important to do, so I will leave for a moment. After saying that, Zhongju's whole body disappears into thin air. Below, Hu Yi Lianxiao, Fu Yunzi and the other experts are all puzzled. What is it that makes Zhongju leave so quickly? Times the raging waves beat against the shore, and the dark reef was worn down until it was extremely smooth. On this huge reef that is less than 100 meters long and wide, there are 2 people standing at the moment. One person is wearing a golden robe. His body exudes a noble aura. His face always has a faint smile. The other person is wearing a dark green robe. The edges of the robe are inlaid with gold, but his face has a touch of arrogance. These two people are the two unparalleled experts standing at the peak of the mortal world. The 12th Tribulation Luz practitioners are already extremely strong, and these two are not only 12th Tribulation Luz practitioners, but also divine beasts. Moreover, they are the rarest and noblest among the divine beasts, super divine beasts. Even in the upper realm, the number of super divine beasts is pitifully small, not to mention the mortal world. Two experts standing at the peak of the mortal world meeting. What is it for? Fang Tian, how rare. You actually came to find me personally. What is it for? Zhongju inquires. When the banquet was going on, Zhongju received a message from the Dragon Clan leader, Fang Tian. So Zhongju directly left the banquet to have a good talk with Fang Tian. Fang Tian looks at Zhongju and smiles. Zhongju, can't I say that it is for an old friend to catch up? Zhongju also smiles. Of course you can, but with your character, I don't believe it. You really understand me. Fang Tian chuckles and says, this time I asked you to come here for a very important matter. I received news that you gathered a large number of loose cultivator experts in the chaotic astral ocean. Many of those super experts even gathered at the Devil Pung Island. Is this true? Zhongju's face turns cold. Yes, do you want to obstruct me from gathering people? No, Fang Tian says. Of course not. I just want to ask you, do you know the secret of the heaven-sundering diagram? So you want to gather so many experts. So what if I know? So what if I don't know? Zhongju looks at Fang Tian. Fang Tian is startled, then immediately laughs. Zhongju, you are still as arrogant as before. Looking at your aura just now, I see that your temperament has improved a lot. Now it seems that your temper hasn't changed, still so arrogant. How can something in the bones change? Just like your 5-clawed golden dragon, always having a noble appearance. Zhongju curls his lips. Let's not talk about this. I really want to know. Do you know the secret of the heaven-sundering diagram? Fang Tian says seriously. Seeing Fang Tian's seriousness, Zhongju smiles and nods. Yes, I know the secret of the heaven-sundering diagram. Isn't it related to the Inai Yang realm? Fang Tian hears the two words Inai Yang realm and smiles bitterly. The loose devils and loose immortals know this secret, but I don't care, because I have never put them in my eyes. I have always hoped that you don't know this secret, because I know that once you know the secret of the Inai Yang realm, with your character, you will definitely participate. Fighting with you is really a headache. In the entire mortal world, the only one who can threaten Fang Tian is Zhongju. Zhongju is difficult to deal with. Fang Tian is of course clear in his heart. In terms of speed, Fang Tian can't catch up to Zhongju. In terms of defense, Fang Tian is only slightly stronger. In terms of attack power, the two are equally matched, but Zhongju's speed is too fast. Once the two fight, if Zhongju relies on speed to fight, Fang Tian will be very sullen. Fighting with me gives you a headache, but fighting with you, I am very excited. Zhongju says with a smile. Fang Tian breathes a sigh of relief. Well, since you have decided to join, I will tell you a secret. Oh, Zhongju's eyes lit up. A secret that is worth Fang Tian to say is definitely not an ordinary secret. The main characters exploring the Inai Yang realm may not be us. We are only playing a supporting role. Because whether it is the demon world, immortal world, or devil world, there will be emissaries descending to the mortal world. Fang Tian says casually. Emissaries descending to the mortal world from the higher realms? Zhongju frowns. Fang Tian continues. Yes, the secret I want to tell you is what level of power the emissaries of the higher realms have. The emissaries descending to the mortal world mentioned just now is not the secret Fang Tian wants to tell. In Fang Tian's eyes, it is not a secret. The power of the emissaries of the higher realms, this is the real big secret. You know this too? Zhongju is shocked. Fang Tian laughs. Zhongju, you don't know this, right? Even if the emissaries sent by the Dragon Clan have higher power than me, they still have to be respectful to me. Then why? Zhongju asks back. Fang Tian stares at Zhongju for a while, until Zhongju feels scared. Fang Tian then continues. I really don't know how you became a super divine beast. You have no connection with the higher realms, so you don't know many things about the higher realms. In the demon world, the number of super divine beasts is pitifully small, and every super divine beast has a very revered status. So, even if the emissaries of the demon world's dragon clan have higher power than me, because I am a 5-clawed golden dragon, they have to be respectful to me. Zhongju understands in his heart. Super divine beasts are really too rare. And in the demon world's dragon clan, super divine beasts have a very high status. I am also the reason why I know the power of the emissaries of the higher realms. Feng Tian says confidently, as a super divine beast 5-clawed golden dragon, once he ascends to the demon world's dragon clan, his status will be very high. Those demon world experts who communicate with Feng Tian usually answer his questions, because they also know that Feng Tian's future status will be very high. What kind of power does the emissaries of the higher realms have? Zhongju inquires. Feng Tian smiles. Before I say this, I want you to understand a principle. In order for the emissaries of the higher realms to go to the mortal world, they must first break through the barrier between the two realms and form a temporary passage. Breaking through the barrier between the two realms is extremely difficult, even for level 8 and level 9 mystic immortals. However, the experts of the demon world, immortal world and devil world are all trying to break through the barrier between the two realms, but this passage is not very stable. Not very stable passage? Zhongju frowns. You mean this passage can't withstand two strong experts? This is the same as crossing a bridge. A small bridge can only withstand so much weight of a car. If the weight of the car exceeds the capacity, the bridge will break. In the same way, an unstable passage can only withstand experts within a certain range. If the experts are too strong, the passage will collapse. And according to the experts of the higher realms, the emissaries should be demon kings, devil kings, golden immortals, level 1 or 2. But the immortal weapons of these experts, devil weapons, demon weapons, and immortal weapons are all the same. Only the people using them are different, must be the most powerful. And these emissaries must be elites. Feng Tian says seriously. Zhongju also feels pressure in his heart. Although these emissaries were not much stronger than them, since they were sent as emissaries, even if they were limited by the passage, their cultivation could not be too high. But their immortal tools must be the best, their spirit pills must be the best, and all kinds of treasures must be plentiful. The cultivation method they cultivated must be the strongest, and they belong to the top of the elites. Don't worry, that's a matter for the future. Moreover, as long as they haven't descended to the mortal world yet, who knows what level of power the emissaries of the higher realms have? Right, let me ask you, what is the target of your first attack in the chaotic astral ocean? Feng Tian asks. The target of my first attack? Zhongju smiles. Jingshu Mountain's heavenly palace. Feng Tian's eyes brighten, a smile on his face. Chapter 260. Haha, Zhongju. I finally know what great minds think alike means. Feng Tian appeared to be very happy. Hero, you're really modest. Zhongju gives an indifferent smile. From what you said, it seems your dragon clan's goal is also Mount Qingshu's heavenly palace? Feng Tian nods and says solemnly, that's right. The reason why my dragon clan hasn't taken action until now isn't because we're afraid of the Tongue-Long Continent's Zayationists. In fact, Wukong Xue and Reverend Ming Liang are nothing to me. The real reason is, having a piece of the heaven-sundering diagram is already enough for us. Since it's already enough, why does your dragon clan want to deal with Mount Qingshu's heavenly palace? Zhongju asked in reply. Feng Tian let out a long sigh. He muttered to himself for a long time before saying, Zhongju, what do you think is the probability of a super divine beast appearing in the mortal world? Zhongju was startled. He pondered for a long time before saying, it's very low. Sometimes, there won't be one in hundreds of thousands of years. Why do you ask? Feng Tian continued. Even among the dragons of the demon realm, 5-clawed golden dragons are shockingly rare. It was rare for a super divine beast to appear in the mortal world. A 12th tribulation super divine beast was far more powerful than an ordinary 12th tribulation expert. It is precisely because of this that only the two of us are able to enter the 10 development illusionary formation in the mortal world. The 10 development illusionary formation is really too strong. Other than me, even a 12th tribulation high-level divine beast can forget about breaking in. Once the two of us ascend, then no one in the mortal realm will be able to break the 10 development illusionary formation. Feng Tian's face becomes serious. When the time comes, the Qingshu Temple will rely on the 10 development illusionary formation to provoke anyone. Therefore, I will never allow anything that breaks the fairness. Feng Tian was thinking for the future of the dragon race. Now that the dragon clan had him, they could ignore the 10 development illusionary formation. But once he Feng Tian ascended, who could easily enter and exit the 10 development illusionary formation? At that time, with the 10 development illusionary formation, the Qingshu Temple will fear nothing. Unfair? Zhongzhu sneered. It is indeed unfair. Feng Tian, let me ask you, the defensive formation of the stellar tower, the great heavenly cycle stellar formation, is even more powerful than the 10 development illusionary formation. What are you going to do about it? Star Pavilion? Feng Tian's expression froze. Noticing Zhongzhu's expression, Feng Tian could guess that Zhongzhu was definitely related to the Star Pavilion. I've also heard of the Star Pavilion's defensive array. That array was something that even the combined forces of so many experts couldn't break. Even if I wanted to break it, I don't have the ability to do so. I want to, but I don't have the strength, Feng Tian said helplessly. That's good. Zhongzhu coldly snorted. Feng Tian, don't blame me for not reminding you. I am indebted to Senior Lan, who is behind the Stellar Pavilion. His strength is unfathomable and far surpasses yours and mine. If you offend him, you can't blame me if you die. Far surpass you and me? How is that possible? Feng Tian's face was filled with disbelief. Zhongzhu didn't say much. I've already told you about this matter. As for whether you believe it or not, it's up to you. I can only tell you that it's best not to provoke the people of the Star Pavilion. That Star Pavilion is the only mysterious power that I can't figure out in all these years. Feng Tian nodded and did not speak. He had already engraved Zhongzhu's words into his heart. Well, then I'll take my leave first. 15 days later, it will be the day my chaotic astral ocean troops attacked Mount Qingshu. If your dragon clan wants to get involved, I won't mind. After Zhongzhu finished speaking, he disappeared into thin air. Feng Tian stood alone on the dark reef where the waves were crashing. His long robe fluttered in the wind, making flapping noises. The Star Pavilion seems to be even more mysterious than I thought. 15 days to attack Mount Qingshu. Yes, it's a good day. Feng Tian muttered to himself. Soon after, he disappeared from the black reef. The sound of waves crashing against the reef did not change in the slightest. Times on the boundless snowy ground, a long time ago, it was the place where the top experts of the loose devils and loose immortals besieged the heavenly flames fiend. But now the battlefield is completely white. The bloodstains have long been buried by the snow. Suddenly, 3 young people appeared out of thin air on the snowy ground. One of them could only be considered a teenager, only 16 or 17 years old. The other 2 looked to be 21 or 22 years old. The 3 looked slow, but were actually fast. In a few steps, they were already a few miles away. Then the 3 brothers flew into the air at a moderate speed. Big brother, you can't be careless about this 9 heavenly tribulation. If it wasn't for Uncle Lan's help and the special power of the black stick and cloud-piercing spear, we probably wouldn't have been able to pass. I reckon the 2 of us would have failed the tribulation and become loose demons. Ho Fei said seriously. Ever since they knew that Qinyu was about to pass the 9 heavenly tribulation, Ho Fei and Kuro often reminded Qinyu to be well prepared. Don't worry, the black stick and cloud-piercing spear are really tough. But I'm your big brother. I also have a lot of abilities. Even if the 9 heavenly tribulation is strong, it won't be able to stop me. Qinyu said with a light smile. Even though his tone was flat, it contained absolute confidence. If he couldn't pass the 9 heavenly tribulation, even with his super recovery ability, would anyone in history succeed? Even though these words were a bit exaggerated, Qin Yu's super recovery ability could indeed be considered as an undying body. Even if he consumed a lot of power, he would still recover quickly. This would allow Qin Yu to face every single tribulation lightning bolt in his strongest state. Brother Wang, did you hear? If the Yinhua mountain range is in the middle of a desperate battle, some mysterious people actually directly charged into the core of the loose demon army. Now the Yinhua mountain range is already in a state of carnage. Even the space is shaking nonstop. The voice from afar made Qin Yu pause. The Yinhua mountain range started fighting again? Qin Yu was puzzled. According to what he thought and what he eavesdropped that day, the loose immortal side and the loose demon side should have stopped fighting. Why did they start fighting again? Qin Yu didn't have time to think too much. He immediately flew towards the sound. However, Hou Fei's flying speed was even faster than Qin Yu's. Long before Qin Yu arrived, Hou Fei had already arrived. Hey, tell me, what's actually going on in the Yinhua mountain range? As soon as Hou Fei's voice rose, Qin Yu and Kuro arrived at the side of those two Xiamoists. These two Xiamoists were not very powerful. One was at the middle Dongshu stage, while the other was at the late Dongshu stage. The gap between them and the current Qin Yu brothers was really very big. One of the Xiamoists holding a black longsword felt terrified at first sight of Hou Fei, because the pressure he felt from him was really too great. It was even more terrifying than the aura of his own school. This Xiamoist immediately said in terror, "Senior, I only heard about it from hearsay, so I don't know the actual situation. I only know that there is a battle going on in the Yinhua mountain range right now, and a lot of people have died." After that, this Xiamoist looked at Hou Fei in fear. He was most worried that Hou Fei would kill him, because Hou Fei's aura was so violent and bloodthirsty. "Don't worry, kid, I won't lower myself to kill you." Hou Fei didn't care. Then he looked at Qin Yu. "Let's go to the Yinhua mountain range." Now Qin Yu changed his appearance and used the Xiamoist's secret skill Dark North. His whole body's aura was hidden. Since he became the Star Pavilion Lord, Qin Yu almost never used this Xiamoist's secret skill again. It's just that, when Heavenly Flames fiend, Qin Yu had already leaked his aura. The three brothers turned into three streams of light and rushed towards the Yinhua mountain range. Before they reached the Yinhua mountain range, they could feel the thick smell of blood from afar. There are a lot of loose devils dead. Qin Yu felt his heart palpitate with just a sweep of his spiritual sense. The whole Yinhua mountain range was dyed red with blood. Severed limbs were scattered everywhere. At the same time, there were two people crazily fighting in the sky. One of them was the number 1 Xiamoist Wu Kongxue. From the situation on the field, Wu Kongxue was actually at a disadvantage. Even more powerful than Wu Kongxue. Who is it? Qin Yu exclaimed. The loose devils were completely at a disadvantage. A lean man was fighting Wu Kongxue, and a tall thin man was fighting Wu Hei to a draw. There were also two men. Those two men were completely at a disadvantage against Dame Lianyu, Fire Devil and the others. Only with the help of other loose devils, the loose devils were barely able to hold on. Speed. Amazing speed. Wu Kongxue's cold sweat seeped out from his forehead. He didn't think that an inconspicuous man who came out of nowhere could beat him. The difference in speed between the two was too big. This mysterious man's speed far surpassed Wu Kongxue's. His offense was not inferior to Wu Kongxue's at all. Thus, Wu Kongxue was completely at a disadvantage. If it were not for the fact that the blood clouds covered the surroundings and allowed him to discover the enemy's tracks one step ahead of time, he would have been killed long ago. Rip! A piece of flesh was forcibly torn from Wu Kongxue's body. Currently, Wu Kongxue's whole body was covered in blood. There were very few intact parts of his body. Wu Kongxue, who practiced the blood devil path, was usually covered in the blood of his enemies, but now he was covered in his own blood. Haha, Wu Kongxue, your power is not bad. It would indeed take a lot of effort to kill you. Today I'm in a good mood, so I'll spare your life for the time being. I'll leave that heaven-sundering diagram with you for the time being. Next time, I'll come for it. Kong Chao Wu Shan Xing Shou, let's go. Following a loud laugh, These 4 mysterious men floated away. Wu Kongshua's whole body was covered in blood. He cut an extremely sorry figure, but his eyes were still fiercely staring at Yu Liang, who was leaving in the distance. Wu Kongxue. Dame Lianyu flew over. Now she was also seriously injured. She said miserably, I feel that the enemy only came to tease me. If that man who fought with me just now really wanted to kill me, I reckon I would have really died. Her opponent was Xing Shou. Xing Shou's power was close to Wu Hei's, so it would not be difficult for him to kill Dame Lianyu. No matter why the enemy did this, from today on, we must not separate. Wu Kongxue said hatefully. Everyone nodded. Everyone present had suffered a great loss. In the distance of the Inua mountain range, there were several tens of thousands of Xiationists observing the fight. Among them were Qin Yu and his 2 brothers. What a formidable 4 people! Qin Yu exclaimed in his mind. That leader was able to suppress Wu Kongxue. The man who fought with Wu Hei was almost as powerful as Wu Hei. As for the other 2 men, they were also close to Wu Hei in power. They were far stronger than Fire Devil and Dame Lianyu. In a fight between such experts, even though there were a large number of loose devils helping on the side, the effect was not obvious. Qin Yu looked at the transmitter in his hand. His eyes brightened. Fei Xiaohei, the real show is about to start. Follow me to Mount Qingshu. Qin Yu's voice contained excitement. What's the matter? Ho Fei and Kuro were puzzled. Qin Yu handed the transmitter to them. Ho Fei and Kuro scanned it with their holy senses. Little brother Qin Yu, do you want to see how the 10 development illusionary formation of the Qingshu Temple's holy land was broken? Then hurry to Mount Qingshu within 2 hours. If you're late, you won't be able to see the 10 development illusionary formation of Mount Qingshu anymore. This was the message Zhongju sent to Qin Yu. 2 hours. Time was very tight. Times Ming Shan, the immortal emissary will descend to the mortal world in a few days. Maybe he'll descend today. Arrange the surroundings of Heavenly Palace a bit more. Also, make the layout of Mount Qingshu more beautiful. Reverend Ming Liang urged. Reverend Ming Shan immediately said with a smile. Don't worry, senior brother. Many loose immortals are working hard to make Mount Qingshu more beautiful. I believe the immortal emissary will be satisfied. Reverend Ming Liang nodded with a faint smile. The immortal emissary was the emissary of Emperor Yu of the immortal world. He was also an important figure to Emperor Yu. If he could leave a good impression on such an expert, once he entered the immortal world, he would naturally be able to achieve meteoric success. He could even lead the seniors of the Qingshu Temple to a new position. But at this moment, Uncle, it's not good. Uncle, several tens experts have appeared in the sky. They're flying towards Heavenly Palace. Shan Chu's voice came directly. The 10 development illusionary formation was now under Shan Chu's personal control. He was also the first to discover the arrival of outsiders. Oh, Reverend Ming Liang scanned with his immortal sense. His face immediately changed dramatically. Not good. There are actually 5 12th tribulation loose immortals. More than 50 of them are all 10th tribulation and above. It's the chaotic astral ocean. They must be troops from the chaotic astral ocean. At this moment, Reverend Ming Liang could no longer keep calm. On one side, Reverend Ming Shan was also scared silly. There were actually 5 12th tribulation loose immortals. There were more than 50 10th tribulation loose immortals. How terrifying was this power? It should be known that among the loose immortals, only Reverend Ming Liang had a 12th tribulation. Shan Chu, I'll control the 10 development illusionary formation. You go to the 2nd floor of Heavenly Palace and stay with the other loose immortals. Quickly go. Reverend Ming Liang directly said through his holy sense. His holy sense had discovered so many experts, but he simply had not discovered the most terrifying Zhongju. Reverend Ming Liang understood that even if Zhongju came, he would not necessarily be able to discover him. Therefore, Reverend Ming Liang still tried to say in a clear voice, the experts of the chaotic astral ocean have come to my Mount Qingshu. I wonder if the senior of the Devil Peng Island School has come? Haha, Ming Liang, I've troubled you to remember. I've come. That indifferent yet absolutely overbearing voice resounded through the world. Hearing Zhongju's voice, Reverend Ming Liang's entire face turned pale. The number one expert of the chaotic astral ocean, the invincible existence, Zhongju actually came. Could the 10 development illusionary formation still withstand him? Chapter 261. As the saying goes, what you fear will come true. The two people that Reverend Ming Liang feared the most in his heart were Zhongju and Fang Tian. He had once hoped that Zhongju was not among this group of people from the chaotic astral ocean, but reality had shattered his unrealistic fantasy. More than 50 super experts were floating outside the 10 development illusionary formation, and inside the 10 development illusionary formation were a large number of loose immortal experts. But with only 50 people, they completely suppressed the people inside the 10 development illusionary formation in terms of momentum. Dressed in a dark cyan robe, Zhongju stands outside the 10 development illusionary formation like a monarch, looking down at the loose immortals inside the formation. Although the 10 development illusionary formation is a powerful formation, it cannot block the demon sense of a first-grade expert like Zhongju. Ming Liang, do you really want me to make a move? Zhongju's voice reverberated throughout the forest. Do you really want to make a move? Of course not. Reverend Ming Liang felt bitter in his heart, but no matter what, he could not lose the heaven-sundering diagram. The immortal realm emissary would descend in a day or two. If the heaven-sundering diagram was taken away by the enemy at the last moment, he believed that the immortal realm emissary would be very angry, and the consequences. Brother Zhong, don't waste time with them. Isn't it just a 10 development illusionary formation, with more than 50 of us attacking together? I don't believe that we can't break it. Floating Cloud Island's master Fu Yunzi smiled indifferently. Although he was also a loose immortal, he had nothing to do with the Tung-Long continent. In terms of formation skills, the number one person in the chaotic astral ocean was Fu Yunzi. Although the 10 development illusionary formation has a defensive function, its most powerful aspect is still its illusions. As long as we don't enter the formation and only attack from afar, we won't be affected by the environment. If the person controlling the formation forcibly withstands our attacks, it's very possible that the 10 development illusionary formation's formation base will be destroyed. Fu Yunzi said confidently. Zhongju smiled and nodded. Then I'll have to trouble Fu Yunzi to temporarily command everyone. Zhongju was certain that he could break the 10 development illusionary formation, but if he really wanted to break it, there were only two ways. One was to painstakingly destroy the formation base one by one. The second way was to use his own secret weapon, using his strongest attack to brazenly destroy the formation. Zhongju did not want to use this secret weapon unless it was a critical moment. As for the first way, it was really too troublesome. Zhongju was too lazy to do it. I'll let my men do it first. At this moment, Senior Zhong. Qin Yu's voice rang out, and 3 streams of light shot over from the horizon. The loose cultivators around Zhongju did not stop them. Firstly, it was because the newcomers addressed him as Senior Zhong. Secondly, with Zhongju's strength, would he be afraid of anyone attacking him? The flowing light stopped in front of Zhongju. It was Qin Yu, Hou Fei and Kuro. Senior Zhong, it seems like I'm not too late. Let me introduce you. This is my second brother Hou Fei. This is my third brother Kuro. Qin Yu appeared to be very relaxed. During the days in Devilpung Island, Zhongju treated Qin Yu very well. When Zhongju swept his gaze over Hou Fei and Hei Yu, his eyes couldn't help but light up. Fiery-eyed water ape? Zhongju was very surprised to see Hou Fei. Senior Zhong, you know about Fei's true body? Qin Yu was very surprised. According to what he knew, there was only one fiery-eyed water ape in the entire mortal world. Countless experts knew nothing about Hou Fei's true body. Who would have thought that Zhongju would be able to recognize it so easily? Zhongju smiled and glanced at Kuro. Hou Fei, right? Zhongju looked at Hou Fei with a much friendlier gaze. Hou Fei greets Senior Zhong. Although Hou Fei was tyrannical, he was also very smart. Qin Yu also smiled and said, Senior Zhong, didn't you ask about Uncle Lan? Fei is Uncle Lan's personal disciple. Oh. Zhongju was very surprised and looked at Hou Fei with a much friendlier gaze. I know some details about your second brother. But as for your third brother, to be honest, I really can't recognize him. However, it's not strange that I can't recognize him. There are too many types of divine beasts in the world. There are even some that suddenly mutated divine beasts. Zhongju smiled and suddenly glanced at Fu Yunzi. Zhongju immediately said, "Let's not talk about it. Now we have to start breaking the formation." Qinyu, Hou Fei and Kuro also looked at Fu Yunzi and the others. Fu Yunzi had already started to gather more than 50 super loose cultivators to attack. "Everyone, we have so many experts working together. The power is extremely great. We don't need to go through any formation. Everyone only needs to focus their attacks on one point. The 10 development illusionary formation's defensive capabilities will definitely not be able to block it. When the time comes, we can easily break the 10 development illusionary formation." Fu Yunzi was very confident. "Everyone, I will attack first. Then everyone will attack the position I am attacking. Everyone understand?" Fu Yunzi looked at everyone. All the loose cultivators nodded. The super experts of the chaotic astral ocean, outside the 10 development illusionary formation, were very confident. However, the countless loose cultivators inside the 10 development illusionary formation were very uneasy, especially Reverend Ming Liang, who was in charge of the formation. At this moment, he was like an ant on a hot pan. However, no matter what, Reverend Ming Liang could only hold on. The 10 development illusionary formation was controlled by different people. Naturally, its power was also different. Reverend Ming Liang controlled the formation. The formation's power was naturally much more powerful than when Shan Chu controlled it. Xiao! It was as if space had been torn apart. More than 50 super experts. Among them, there were 5 12th tribulation experts. There were also many divine beasts. The power of so many experts working together was even stronger than Zhongju's. Moreover, the power of these 50 people were all gathered at one point. At the moment of impact, that space collapsed and the 10 development illusionary formation shook. However, the power of the 50 super experts was too strong. Even though a space crack had appeared, it still shook the space. A part of the power that was gathered at one point was absorbed by the space crack. The other part continued to shoot inside. Reverend Ming Liang's face was solemn. His body was dazzling, like the sun in the 10 development illusionary formation. The opponent's power is too strong. The 10 development illusionary formation's strongest point is the illusion, not the absolute defense. Even if I control the formation, I am unable to completely resist such a strong attack. I can't block it, I can only channel it. The 10 development illusionary formation was like a sea of clouds. Only 50% of the power of the attack was removed. The remaining 50% passed through the formation and entered the 10 development illusionary formation. A dazzling brilliance shone in the 10 development illusionary formation. The sound of the explosion was even more ear-piercing. In just one attack, the number of loose immortals killed or injured reached several hundred. First, it was because the opponent's attack was too strong. Most importantly, the loose immortals inside the 10 development illusionary formation were too crowded. Fellow loose immortals, first enter the heavenly palace to hide for a moment. The loose immortals left here must be at least 8th tribulation. Reverend Ming Liang said clearly. Immediately, a large group of loose immortals rushed into the heavenly palace. Reverend Ming Liang raised his head and looked at the 10th tribulation and above experts outside the 10 development illusionary formation. His heart felt a heavy pressure. Everyone, the second joint attack. Fu Yanzi said clearly. More than 50 rays of light once again shot over. This time, the attacks of the chaotic astral ocean's experts did not completely converge at one point. There was only some distance between them. However, even though they did not converge, the effect was even better. Because this time there was no space crack, the power almost simultaneously exploded in a small square area. Not good. Reverend Ming Liang clearly felt that the 10 development illusionary formation's endurance reached its peak in an instant. Immediately, Reverend Ming Liang removed part of the power and could only let these attacks explode into the 10 development illusionary formation. Soil splashed. Inside the 10 Development Illusionary Formation, outside the Heavenly Palace, there were only a few formidable loose immortals. Because these loose immortals were relatively far away from each other, they were still able to avoid the attacks. Soil exploded and gravel flew everywhere. One by one, the loose immortals fled everywhere in panic. Haha! Suddenly, a loud laugh resounded through heaven and earth. At the same time, a golden figure shot over from afar. At the same time, there were several tens of figures behind him. Zhongju, your speed is really fast. Hearing these words, Reverend Ming Liang's face became even paler. In this mortal world, there was only one other invincible existence who dared to directly call Zhongju by his name. The Dragon Clan's leader, Fang Tian. But your speed is fast. Even now, you still haven't broken this 10 Development Illusionary Formation. Since you haven't broken it, then let me make a move. As the golden figure spoke, his entire body swayed and turned into a huge golden dragon. This golden dragon's length reached a frightening 1,000 meters. Every golden dragon's scale on its body made people feel a terrifying pressure. That huge body naturally emitted an aura that made people submit to it. Those pair of dragon eyes were filled with arrogance that overlooked the world. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. With just a tail whip, it was as if heaven and earth had collapsed. Bang! The entire 10 Development Illusionary Formation instantly trembled. The moment that dragon tail slapped the formation, Reverend Ming Liang, who was in charge of the formation, felt a sweet taste in his throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face became somewhat pale. This was the deathly pale color of a serious injury due to blood loss. Haha, Fang Tian, you actually didn't break it in one strike. Let me. Zhongju laughed loudly. At the same time, Zhongju's entire body turned into a golden light phantom that was more than 10 meters long. At the same time, an extremely resounding and crazy cry resounded through heaven and earth. With just the sound, the entire space shook like the surface of water. Then the golden light rushed towards the 10 Development Illusionary Formation. With just a dash. Pooh! A crisp sound rang out. The golden phantom unexpectedly arrived within the 10 Development Illusionary Formation. Exceeding the limit of speed, it brought about an extremely terrifying attack power. Haha, Fang Tian, I've already broken this formation. Looks like you're still inferior to me. Zhongju's loud laughter rang out. That golden phantom once again changed back into Zhongju's appearance. Bang! The golden dragon once again swung its body and ruthlessly whipped the already damaged 10 Development Illusionary Formation. The 10 Development Illusionary Formation completely shattered like glass. One by one, the formation bases exploded one after another and were completely destroyed. The golden dragon disappeared, and Fang Tian's figure appeared. You keep bragging, Fang Tian said with a smile. Even though this Ming Liang's strength is ordinary, he was controlling the 10 Development Illusionary Formation. If I hadn't seriously injured him with my previous strike, do you think you would have been able to break the formation so easily? You're just taking advantage of someone's perilous state. Zhongju did not care in the slightest. Just say it. In short, this formation was broken by me. At the moment, Reverend Ming Liang's face was deathly pale. He looked at Fang Tian and Zhongju in front of him. Fang Tian, Zhongju, you actually disregarded your status and joined forces to break my Qingxi Temple's 10 Development Illusionary Formation. Reverend Ming Liang's heart was filled with grief and indignation. The two invincible existences in front of him. He would not be able to fight against any one of them. But these two freaks actually joined forces to attack him. How could this not cause him to feel grief and indignation? Moreover, the 10 Development Illusionary Formation was the Qingxi Temple's most important formation. Losing this formation would be an unprecedented blow to the Qingxi Temple. Zhongju's face turned cold. He looked at Ming Liang with an ice-cold gaze. Is my name something you can directly call? Fang Tian's face also turned cold. Don't look at how Zhongju and Fang Tian were joking around. The two of them were all smiles, and did not even care if they called each other by their names. But as soon as someone else spoke, their faces turned cold. Reverend Ming Liang. In Fang Tian and Zhongju's eyes, they could kill him with one hand. Even though just now he relied on the formation, Fang Tian only needed to use a single move of the divine dragon tail to seriously injure him. If he did not rely on the 10 development illusionary formation, he would not even be able to take a single move from Fang Tian. Super divine beasts not only have extremely revered statuses, they are also the strongest among experts of the same level. Senior Zong, Reverend Ming Liang definitely knows the location of this heaven-sundering diagram. Why don't you ask? Qin Yu said with a smile. At the same time, Qin Yu, Hou Fei and Kuro also flew over. They flew directly behind Zhongju. When Fang Tian saw Qin Yu and his two brothers, his gaze focused on Hou Fei. Fiery-eyed water ape? Fang Tian appeared very surprised. At the same time, he looked at Zhongju. Zhongju laughed. Don't be surprised. This is Qin Yu. Presumably, with your intelligence, you already know. This Hou Fei is Senior Lan's disciple. These three are his brothers. The Stellar Tower is indeed mysterious. That Senior Lan was actually able to accept a fiery-eyed water ape as his disciple. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. Fang Tian thought to himself. Zhongju suddenly said, Fang Tian, your dragon clan already has a heaven-sundering diagram, right? This heaven-sundering diagram belongs to me. Saying this, Zhongju grabbed at Reverend Ming Liang. What are you talking about? Our dragon clan also has a share in breaking the 10 development illusionary formation. Moreover, isn't it better to have one more heaven-sundering diagram? I'm not that generous. Saying this, Fang Tian also grabbed at Reverend Ming Liang. Reverend Ming Liang's face instantly turned red. Xiao, like a blood-red ray of light, Reverend Ming Liang instantly reached a height of several hundred meters. The heaven-sundering diagram belongs to us loose immortals. No matter what, you can forget about getting it. Even if I die. Reverend Ming Liang's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness. Fang Tian and Zhongju were startled. Soon after, they looked at each other and burst into laughter. Haha, funny. You still want to die in front of us. If we don't let you die, how can you die? Fang Tian's voice resounded between heaven and earth. Fang Tian and Zhongju disappeared almost at the same time. Zhongju had already grabbed Reverend Ming Liang's neck. He looked at Fang Tian with a smile. Fang Tian, in terms of speed, you're still inferior to me. Looks like this heaven-sundering diagram belongs to me. Chapter 262. Golden-winged Peng. Among the few super beasts in terms of speed, it is one of the fastest. Only one or two flying-type super beasts can compete with it in terms of speed. As for the walking type and the scaled-type super beasts, they are far inferior to the golden-winged Peng in terms of speed. Fang Tian's mind is spinning. Now that Reverend Ming Liang is in Zhongju's hands, he has no confidence in snatching him. He himself has no confidence in Zhongju. And although the dragon race has many experts, the chaotic astral ocean has even more experts. Haha. Zhongju, in terms of speed, you are still far superior to me. Fang Tian laughs loudly, as if he doesn't care. However, today, I also contributed to breaking the 10 development illusionary formation. If you take all the benefits, how can my dragon race's disciples be convinced? Zhongju is too lazy to say more. What do you want to say? Wanting Reverend Ming Liang is absolutely impossible. This heaven-sundering diagram is mine. Zhongju adds. His words contain an absolute domineering aura. Obviously there is no room for discussion. Suddenly, Hu Yi Lian Xiao, Fu Yunzi and his two brothers, Shi Bian and Yi Zong. One by one, the chaotic astral ocean experts walked behind Zhongju, coldly looking at the dragon race's side. In terms of experts, although the dragon race is strong, in front of the chaotic astral ocean, there is still a big gap. The attitude of the chaotic astral ocean experts also explains everything. Reverend Ming Liang, who knows the location of the heaven-sundering diagram. We must take him. Big brother, it seems like the fight is about to start. Hou Fei's eyes radiate light. He seems very excited. Qin Yu looks suspiciously at Kuro. Xiaohei, since you saw Zhongju, you seem to be a bit absent-minded, always looking at Zhongju. What is going on? I don't know. Kuro is also confused. Only after seeing Zhongju, I feel that he is a bit familiar. Perhaps it's because we are both bird-type divine beasts. In the end, Heiyu also casually found an excuse. Qinyu nods and doesn't ask anymore. At this moment, facing Zhongju's strength, Fang Tian doesn't care and smiles. Zhongju, since this Reverend Ming Liang is captured by you, I naturally won't snatch him. I just want to say something. Hearing that Fang Tian was not going to snatch it, Zhongju nodded and said, "What's the matter? Speak." Fang Tian smiled and said, "This Reverend Ming Liang definitely knows where the heaven sundering diagram is hidden. Now he is in your hands. If you interrogate and find out where the heaven sundering diagram is, go get it yourself, I won't stop you. But if you can't get anything out of him, you have to hand Reverend Ming Liang over to me for interrogation. If I manage to get anything out of him, I'll go get the heaven sundering diagram, and you absolutely cannot stop me." Fang Tian was making a bet. He bet that Zhongju wouldn't be able to get anything out of him. Zhongju, Fang Tian, stop dreaming. Don't even think about finding out the whereabouts of the heaven sundering diagram from me. Reverend Ming Liang coldly snorts as his body trembles. Suddenly, a surge of energy flowed from Zhongju's palm into Reverend Ming Liang's body. Reverend Ming Liang immediately returned to normal. However, Zhongju coldly said, "You want to commit suicide? You still want to commit suicide in my hands? It was simply a dream. If you don't tell me the secret of the heaven sundering diagram, how can I let you die?" Just now, Reverend Ming Liang had wanted to commit suicide, but Zhongju had instantly rendered him immobile. "Fang Tian, I agree to what you said. If I can't get anything out of him, I'll hand him over to you. At that time, if you manage to get anything out of him, I naturally won't try to seize the heaven sundering diagram." Zhongju lightly smiles. Fang Tian nods his head in satisfaction. "At that time, I won't try to seize it, but others might. It's better to be careful." Zhongju smiles and says, "Of course, this is based on the fact that I can't get anything out of him. It's just Reverend Ming Liang. How can I not be able to get anything out of him?" Fang Tian indifferently says, "As long as you don't seize it, it's fine. As for others, I don't care about them." Finished speaking, Fang Tian indifferently glances at the surroundings. Whether it's Hu Yi or Fu Yunzi, they all have no choice but to lower their heads in front of Fang Tian. Just now, Fang Tian transformed into a five-clawed golden dragon's might was still in everyone's mind. No one present dared to oppose Fang Tian. "Ming Liang, I'm too lazy to use any tricks. Tell me the whereabouts of the heaven sundering diagram, and I'll spare your life," Zhongju indifferently says. At this moment, Zhongju simply doesn't want to use any tricks. "If you want to kill me, then kill me. Don't even think about getting the heaven sundering diagram." Reverend Ming Liang sneers. Now that his power has been sealed, Reverend Ming Liang can't even commit suicide. However, Reverend Ming Liang is clear on one thing. If he hands over the heaven sundering diagram, the immortal realm emissary will descend, and he will undoubtedly die. Moreover, he will also implicate his sex elders in the immortal realm, and he will become the sex eternal sinner. If he hands it over, he will die. If he doesn't, he will also die. Moreover, if he hands it over, he will also harm his sex elders. "You're really stubborn," Zhongju says with a smile. At the same time, Zhongju's eyes look at Reverend Ming Liang. Bewitching technique. When Reverend Ming Liang saw Zhongju's eyes, he had a feeling of drowsiness. Moreover, he felt that the Zhongju in front of him was so close, so reliable. It was as if he was his closest relative. "What's your name?" "My real name is Yang Shanyan. Master gave me the name Ming Liang. How many years have you been cultivating?" Seeing Zhongju and Reverend Ming Liang asking and answering questions, the surrounding experts of the chaotic astral ocean all have smiles on their faces. The loose immortals in the heavenly palace all have anxious faces, but no one dares to come out. After all, there are two invincible existences outside. Following Zhongju's questioning, the nearby Fang Tian also frowns. He did not expect Zhongju's bewitching technique to be so powerful. "Where is the heaven sundering diagram?" Zhongju asks step by step, starting from some unimportant questions, first letting him completely enter the state. Now he finally asks the most important question. The heaven-sundering diagram is... Ah, the heaven-sundering diagram. Reverend Ming Liang seems to have been struck by lightning. His whole body trembles, and his pupils instantly focus. He actually woke up. Reverend Ming Liang coldly looks at Zhongju. What a powerful bewitching technique. I almost fell for it. The smile on Zhongju's face slightly stiffens, and he immediately praises. Your mind is really firm, but I don't believe that I can't interrogate you. Zhongju's body moves, and in a moment he appears in his original position, as if he never moved. Only now Zhongju has another person in his hands, Reverend Ming Shan. Immediately, the loose immortals are in an uproar. The 10th tribulation and 11th tribulation loose immortals are all gathered together. All the loose immortals in the main hall of the heavenly palace are very cautious. At the same time, there is also a feeling of sympathy for the death of the rabbit. Just now, Zhongju was unexpectedly able to capture Ming Shan so quickly and easily. Ming Liang, I used my demonic sense to search. This person should also be from your Qingshu temple, and an expert second only to you. Zhongju says with a smile. Immediately he repeats the same trick, and his eyes look at Reverend Ming Shan. Reverend Ming Shan's willpower is much weaker than his senior apprentice brother's. In just a moment he is immersed in it. Tell me, where is the heaven-sundering diagram? Zhongju asks one or two simple questions, then directly asks about the heaven-sundering diagram's location. Reverend Ming Shan is like a machine, listlessly saying, the heaven-sundering diagram is under senior apprentice brother's care. As for where he put it apart from him, no one else knows. Hearing Reverend Ming Shan's answer, Zhongju's smile finally disappears. Haha, don't be delusional. You definitely won't be able to get the heaven-sundering diagram. Reverend Ming Liang laughs proudly. At the moment his face is full of confidence. Even though he is captured, he does not have the slightest consciousness of a prisoner. Instead, he is full of arrogance. Zhongju carefully looks at Reverend Ming Liang and looks into his eyes. Good. Zhongju throws Reverend Ming Liang to Fang Tian. Fang Tian, he is yours. I want to see what kind of ability you have to interrogate him. Zhongju does not continue the interrogation. Behind Zhongju, Qingyu, Hofei, and Kuro only watch. Big brother, I have a feeling that this dragon clan leader seems to be very confident. I think he is very likely to be able to interrogate him. Hofei touches his chin, coming to a conclusion. I agree. Kuro says. Qingyu does not say anything, only looking at Fang Tian with a slight smile. Fang Tian reaches out his hand, and the sealed Reverend Ming Liang falls in front of him. Fang Tian looks at Zhongju with a smile. Zhongju, you have to remember what you just said. If I interrogate him, you cannot snatch it from me. I, Zhongju, always keep my word. If I say I won't snatch it, then I definitely won't snatch it from you. If you have the ability, then go ahead and interrogate him. Zhongju says coldly. Just be careful. I won't snatch it, but that doesn't mean others won't. Fang Tian smiles faintly, containing absolute confidence. Fang Tian flips his hand, and a golden bead appears in his hand. An enormous aura is emitted from the golden bead. The aura is so grand that it makes everyone's heart tremble involuntarily. Zhongju's eyes light up. Heritage Dragon Bead? Yes. Fang Tian smiles and nods. Heritage Dragon Bead is the most valuable treasure of the Dragon Clan. As for its use, not many people know. Heritage Dragon Bead has many effects. One of them is bewitching. Fang Tian says confidently. The Heritage Dragon Bead in Fang Tian's hand releases a rainbow light. That light is blurred and illusory. Even Qingyu, who is far away, feels dizzy, not knowing what is going on. Although it is not the main target, it is just a diffuse effect. All of the loose immortals below the 8th tribulation have been hit by it. Not only Qingyu, even Hofei and Xiaohei have been hit by it. However, experts such as Zhongju, Hui and Lian Xiao are naturally not affected. Reverend Ming Liang is the main target of this Heritage Dragon Bead. Most of the effect is on him. Reverend Ming Liang's eyes also have all kinds of light flowing, exactly the same as the Heritage Dragon Bead. In just an instant, his whole body is under control. The moment Qingyu is under control, a clear stream flows in his mind. His soul instantly absorbs that clear stream. So powerful. Qin Yu is completely awake. Although he was only under control for a moment, and was saved by Lu Xing's tears, Qin Yu is very clear that he was indeed under control. Even his brothers Fei and Xiaohei are also under control. Fei Xiaohei. Qin Yu stretches out his hand to pull Hou Fei and Xiaohei. Hou Fei and Xiaohei still do not react. How can the bewitching technique be broken so easily? What should I do? I have Lu Xing's tears. Fei and Xiaohei don't have them either. Qin Yu started to ponder in his heart. Although he only needed to wait for a period of time for Fang Tian to receive the inherited dragon pearl, Qin Yu did not wish for his brother to be controlled by someone else. This kind of feeling was extremely unpleasant. If only I can control Lu Xing's tears. The clear stream in Lu Xing's tears appears automatically. Qin Yu is simply unable to control it. However, at this moment, Qin Yu grabs Xiaohei's hand and passes a clear stream. Xiaohei's body shakes and instantly recovers. Big brother. Kuro is very shocked. Qin Yu is shocked. Can I control Lu Xing's tears? Qin Yu is very shocked. Immediately, Qin Yu grabs Hou Fei's arm again. At the same time, he uses his consciousness to control Lu Xing's tears to release that clear stream. After a long time, Lu Xing's tears slowly flow out. Hou Fei also suddenly sobers up. Qin Yu is very happy. He tries to control Lu Xing's tears again. However, no matter how hard he tries, there is no effect. This Lu Xing's tears seem to work for a while, and then not. However, Qin Yu still feels a burst of excitement in his heart. No matter what, this means that he already has the possibility of using Lu Xing's tears on his own. At this moment, Reverend Ming Liang is already completely under control. Ming Liang speak. Where is the heaven-sundering diagram? Fang Tian coldly asks directly. It is very clear that Fang Tian's first question is the most important one. He does not need to ask step by step. This is known as the Dragon Clan's most valuable treasure, the Legacy Dragon Pearl. Its effect is indeed very powerful. Reverend Ming Liang's whole body is like a puppet. He listlessly says numbly. The heaven-sundering diagram. I placed it on a disciple of the Shan generation of my Qingshu temple. Shan generation. Immediately, the loose immortals in Heavenly Palace are in an uproar. There are not many loose immortals of the Shan generation, only a few. Who is it? Fang Tian continues to ask. Shan Chu. Reverend Ming Liang continues to ask. Who is Shan Chu? Fang Tian simply does not know who Shan Chu is. What is the use of just saying the name? At this moment, Qin Yu notices a scene. When Reverend Ming Liang says Shan Chu, almost all the loose immortals in Heavenly Palace's main hall look at one person. That person's face also changes color. Immediately he wants to escape. He is Shan Chu. Qin Yu's heart is moved. Reverend Ming Liang turns around. His lifeless eyes look at the loose immortals in Heavenly Palace's main hall. He then points to Shan Chu and says, That is Shan Chu. Fang Tian is overjoyed. The experts of the Dragon Clan are also full of smiles. Zhongju slightly frowns. The experts of the chaotic astral ocean all have calm faces. However, at this moment, an extremely astonishing sword energy shoots directly from the outside towards Heavenly Palace. That sword energy is so tyrannical that it rips apart space. Even Fang Tian and Zhongju's faces change color. The two of them do not dare to face it head-on. They both dodge at the same time. That sword energy directly kills 3 loose immortals. Finally, it pierces through Shan Chu's Yuanying. Shan Chu dies. An inkwash painting floats down. A grim man with a long sword on his back appears beside Shan Chu. He takes the inkwash painting with one hand. Chapter 263. Astonishment, sluggishness. The loose immortals of the Heavenly Palace, the experts of the chaotic astral ocean, the experts of the Dragon Clan. These top experts of the mortal world are all shocked. Not to mention anything else, just the sword energy that was casually released just now was enough to shock everyone. Fang Tian and Zhongju's eyes are filled with disbelief. Fang Tian, since when did the mortal world have such an expert? Look at his sword. I have a feeling that it's at least a high-grade or top-grade immortal weapon. Zhongju simply cannot believe that the mortal world has an expert capable of threatening him, and Feng Tian. Feng Tian is also astonished. Immediately Feng Tian is startled, using his holy sense. Zhongju, do you think he's an immortal emissary? Immortal emissary? Zhongju's heart is moved. The aura emitted by this mysterious cold man indeed has the aura of an immortal. Moreover, that extremely sharp sword energy even forced Feng Tian and Zhongju to dodge. While in shock, Feng Tian naturally received the Inheritance Dragon Pearl. Now using the Inheritance Dragon Pearl has no effect at all. Reverend Ming Liang, who was controlled by the Inheritance Dragon Pearl, also completely awakens. He immediately recalls the scene just now. Not good. Reverend Ming Liang is greatly alarmed. He knows that he was controlled and must have revealed the secret. When Reverend Ming Liang sees the mysterious cold man in the main hall of the Heavenly Palace, and the sharp sword energy he naturally emits, Reverend Ming Liang is shocked. At the same time, he is also pleasantly surprised. Junior Ming Liang of the Qingshu Temple greets the immortal emissary. Reverend Ming Liang appears very certain. The loose immortals look at Reverend Ming Liang and immediately say respectfully to the mysterious man, "Greetings to the immortal emissary." The chaotic astral ocean side is stunned. The dragon clan side is stunned. Feng Tian and Zhongju look at each other, not saying anything. Just based on the sword energy just now, Feng Tian and Zhongju know that if they were in human form, they would have to use all of their unique skills to have a chance of fighting. If they want to win against this mysterious sword immortal, not only do they have to use their unique skills, they also have to transform into their true bodies. Only Feng Tian and Zhongju feel that the mysterious man in front of them is too unfathomable. Even if they transform into their true bodies and use their unique skills at the same time, it is hard to say whether they can win. "I'm not the immortal emissary." The grim man glanced at the loose immortals and said coldly. Qin Yu, who was standing behind Zhongju, had a hint of a smile in his eyes. Immortal emissary? It was nothing more than his sword immortal puppet. The sword immortal puppet was personally refined by Uncle Lan. Its entire body was refined from a special material and was extremely tough. That immortal sword was also comparable to a supreme-grade immortal sword. It could be said that the sword immortal puppet's entire body could be considered a top-grade immortal artifact. In a head-on clash, it was impossible to injure the sword immortal puppet. As for the attack, it would require the energy of supreme-grade elemental spirit stones. At this moment, Qin Yu had fused a strand of his spiritual sense into the sword immortal puppet. The words spoken by the sword immortal puppet were all controlled by Qin Yu. Lord Emissary, didn't the seniors of the immortal world say that the emissary is a sword immortal? Although this junior's eyesight isn't that great, this junior can still tell that senior is a sword immortal. Moreover, senior was able to force Feng Tian and Zhongju into a corner with just one sword strike. Junior believes that there is absolutely no such person in the mortal world. Reverend Ming Liang said anxiously. Reverend Ming Liang simply couldn't understand why his lord emissary of the immortal world would admit that he was an emissary. "I am sword immortal Lan Feng. Friends Feng Tian and Zhongju may not be as good as me in human form, but they are in their true bodies. It would be extremely difficult for me to win against these two fellow Taoists." The sword immortal puppet said indifferently. In reality, it was Qin Yu who was speaking. From a certain point of view, the sword immortal puppet could be considered Qin Yu's avatar. Feng Tian and Zhongju's hearts jumped. This mysterious sword immortal was truly too strong. The two of them felt that they wouldn't be able to win against this sword immortal in human form. Only in their true bodies would they have a chance. Feng Tian and Zhongju both had a good impression of this mysterious sword immortal. Since he called them fellow Taoists, Feng Tian and Zhongju naturally didn't want to casually make an enemy out of him. "Brother Lan Feng, I am Zhongju. I didn't expect that there would be such an expert in the mortal world. However, I am very curious. According to my conjecture, Brother Lan Feng should be at least a golden immortal. I am very confident in my own strength. If it was only a 12th tribulation sword immortal, I would have the confidence to win." Zhongju smiled. Lan Feng nodded. Yes, I am a first-level golden immortal. I am not far from breaking through to the second level. Zhongju and Feng Tian understood. Oh, Feng Tian smiled. Brother Lan Feng, I am Feng Tian. No wonder Zhongju. And I couldn't detect Brother Lan Feng's strength with our demon sense. Sword immortals are the strongest immortals in the immortal world. However, immortals of the same level would still not be able to catch up to me. So Brother Lan Feng is a first-level golden immortal sword immortal. In terms of strength, I estimate that you are on par with me. Zhongju also nodded. Sword immortals are immortals with the strongest attack power. A 12th Tribulation Super Divine Beast is a 9th-level heavenly immortal super divine beast. There is only a difference of 1 level between them, and a first-level golden immortal sword immortal. Sword immortals have the strongest attack power, but super divine beasts are even stronger. In terms of strength alone, a 9th-level heavenly immortal super divine beast should be on par with a first-level golden immortal sword immortal. However, Lan Feng's weapon is too good. The immortal sword on his body is a top-quality immortal sword. He has the advantage in terms of weapon. This is why Feng Tian and Zhongju are somewhat wary of Lan Feng. Golden immortal. All the loose immortals were shocked. Logically speaking, once a 12th Tribulation loose immortal comprehends the last layer, they will directly ascend and become a golden immortal in the immortal world. Brother Lan Feng, I have a question. I don't know if Brother Lan Feng can solve it for me. Feng Tian smiled. Please speak. Sword immortal Lan Feng nodded. As far as I know, golden immortals are usually from the immortal world. I don't know why Brother Lan Feng is staying in the mortal world. This really puzzles Feng Tian. Feng Tian was very puzzled. He was really puzzled. Zhongju, the experts of the chaotic astral ocean, the experts of the dragon clan, and the loose immortals all looked at Lan Feng. They were also puzzled. Why would a golden immortal come to the mortal world? If he is not an immortal emissary, why would he be in the mortal world? Behind Zhongju, Qinyu was carefully pondering this question. Naturally, Sword Immortal Lan Feng also pretended to ponder. After a while, Sword Immortal Lan Feng sighed and looked at Ming Liang. Ming Liang, Lan Feng said. Ming Liang knew that Lan Feng was not an immortal emissary, and was disappointed. However, he was still a golden immortal. Lan Feng immediately bowed and said, Senior, what is the matter? Ming Liang, just now you deduced that I am an immortal emissary, because I was able to force Brother Feng Tian and Brother Zhongju to retreat. But I want to tell you, the experts of the mortal world are not as few as you think. Even from what I know, there are 2 or 3 who are stronger than me. Even one of them can defeat me in one move. Feng Tian and Zhongju were shocked. All the loose immortals, the experts of the chaotic astral ocean, and the experts of the dragon clan were shocked. The shock brought by this sentence was too great. According to what Sword Immortal Lan Feng said, there are even more powerful experts in the mortal world. Feng Tian and Zhongju thought that they were invincible, but they were too arrogant. Only Qinyu was secretly laughing. Don't be fooled by me. I made up some non-existent experts to tease you all. I will also let you know that you can't be too arrogant. When Qinyu said this sentence, he naturally had a series of plans in his mind. Especially when he heard Reverend Ming Liang say that there is an immortal emissary. Qinyu's heart was even more determined to carry out the most important plan. At the same time, Qinyu rejoiced in his heart that he was decisive in using the sword immortal puppet. But you can rest assured for now, the experts who have reached the level of golden immortal are all in a certain place in the mortal world. That place is very difficult to get out. I was only able to escape by relying on senior brother's formation skills and astonishing strength. Lan Feng said with a smile. Feng Tian and Zhongju's heart slightly calmed down. The experts are all in a certain place, and it seems that they are still trapped in that place. But now the experts that came out, at least there is Lan Feng and Lan Feng's senior brother. Brother Feng Tian, Brother Zhongju, I will accept this heaven-sundering diagram for the time being, because this heaven-sundering diagram still has some use for me. Alright, I will take my leave for now. What do you all want to do? Continue. Once Sword Immortal Lan Feng finished speaking, he disappeared into thin air. Fang Tian and Zhong Ju looked at each other and smiled helplessly. What do they want to do? Continue? Can they still continue? Zhong Ju. The mysterious Lan Feng that came out today shows that there is a mysterious place in the mortal world, and there are some extremely powerful experts there. But because of the formation restrictions, it is very difficult for those experts to come out. Fang Tian transmitted. Zhong Ju also nodded and transmitted. It should be so. Fang Tian's heart suddenly moved and transmitted. Zhong Ju, didn't you say that Senior Lan of the Stellar Pavilion is very powerful? Moreover, the Stellar Pavilion's great heavenly cycle stellar formation is also very powerful. And this Lan Feng said that he has a senior brother, and his senior brother's strength and formation skills are extremely powerful. You say, could his senior brother be the senior Lan you spoke of? After all, both of them have the word Lan in their names. Zhong Ju's heart also shook. It makes sense. Lan Feng said that he relied on senior brother's formation skills and astonishing strength to escape. Astonishing strength. Zhong Ju had personally experienced senior Lan's strength, and it was indeed incomparably astonishing. Zhong Ju believed that if senior Lan wanted to kill him, he would not have the strength to resist. As for formation skills, although Zhong Ju did not see it, but the Stellar Pavilion's defensive formation clearly showed Uncle Lan's formation skills. It is very possible. Zhong Ju replied. Suddenly, Fang Tian and Zhong Ju both looked at Qin Yu. If that Lan Feng is Senior Lan's junior brother, then Qin Yu, Hou Fei and the others should know about this Lan Feng. Seniors, why are you looking at me like that? Qin Yu was puzzled. Could it be that they noticed something, or they guessed the hint in my words just now? Qin Yu deliberately gave the Sword Immortal puppet the name Lan Feng, and said a lot of things. What formation skills, what astonishing strength, everything was planned. Qin Yu, is that Lan Feng your martial uncle? Zhong Ju inquired. Qin Yu was delighted. Success. Qin Yu had a puzzled look on his face. Martial uncle? I don't know, to be honest. I am not familiar with my own sect. I have only seen my master once, but Uncle Lan and I have been together for a long time. Hou Fei, what about you? Zhong Ju looked at Hou Fei. Hou Fei also shook his head. I don't know. I only know my master is Uncle Lan. As for my master's fellow disciples, I don't know any of them. Zhong Ju and Fang Tian looked at each other, believing in their own judgment even more. How could there be a sect disciple who doesn't know his martial uncle or martial uncle? But Lan Feng just said that too few people came out, and most of them were trapped in that mysterious place. Thinking about it this way, it makes sense. Maybe this Lan Feng also just came out of that mysterious place, so Qin Yu and Hou Fei did not know him. Senior Zhong, why are you asking this? Could it be that Lan Feng is really my martial uncle? Qin Yu asked. Zhong Ju smiled lightly. I am just guessing. You don't need to ask. Fang Tian glanced at the loose immortals, then said to Zhong Ju. Zhong Ju, the heaven sundering diagram has been taken by Brother Lan Feng. There is no use in staying here. How about we leave first? That makes sense. Zhong Ju nodded. At the same time, Zhong Ju waved his hand and removed the seal on Reverend Ming Liang's body. In Qin Yu's eyes, he was too lazy to kill Reverend Ming Liang. Immediately, Zhong Ju and Fang Tian called for their own people to prepare to leave. But at this moment, the space between heaven and earth suddenly began to vibrate. A violent vibration came from the sky. The vibration of space caused the trees in a radius of several thousand miles to collapse, and the air even turned into a rapid sound wave attack, occasionally accompanied by a sonic boom. In the middle of the sky, a vortex appeared. What a strong vibration of space! Fang Tian was shocked. Even when he and Zhong Ju fought, there would not be such a vibration of space. This vibration of space was a bit too frightening. Reverend Ming Liang's eyes emitted rays of light. Uncle Master, Uncle Master. Qing Su Temple disciple Shan Nian quickly ran to Reverend Ming Liang's side, using his immortal sense to say, Uncle Master. Disciple was on the 9th floor of Heavenly Palace. I just received news from the Immortal Realm that the Immortal Realm emissary is about to descend. Uncle Master, please welcome him. Reverend Ming Liang was immediately excited. Just now he was suppressed, his life and death controlled by Zhongju and Fang Tian. He was extremely sullen. Now that the Immortal Realm emissary has finally arrived, he and his loose immortals can finally straighten their backs, no longer having to fear the Dragon Clan and the chaotic Astral Ocean. Everyone, follow me to welcome the Immortal Realm emissary. Reverend Ming Liang's clear voice resounded throughout Heavenly Palace. Immediately, the sixth tribulation loose immortals in Heavenly Palace flew out one by one, pleasantly surprised. The Immortal Realm emissary, he must be a powerful expert. With the support of the Immortal Realm emissary, they did not need to be too cowardly. Immediately, several thousand sixth tribulation loose immortals flew in 2 orderly rows in the sky at the same time, quietly waiting for the Immortal Realm emissary to descend. Hearing Reverend Ming Liang's words, Fang Tian and Zhongju's faces changed. Immortal Realm emissary? They did not expect that among the emissaries of the Immortal Realm, the Immortal Realm emissary would be the first to descend. Chapter 264. The whirlpool in the sky continued to spin. At the same time, the surrounding area would sometimes turn blue, sometimes purple, sometimes black, sometimes white. The area around the whirlpool was filled with all kinds of colors. At the same time, the entire space was constantly vibrating. The strength of the spatial tremors simply reached a horrifying degree. Led by Reverend Ming Liang, several thousand loose immortals of the sixth tribulation and above divided into 2 rows and bowed to welcome them. However, Fang Tian and Zhongju's expressions didn't look too good. They just stared coldly at the passage in the sky. As the tremors became stronger and stronger, SSSS. A low and deep sound reverberated through the heavens and the earth. The spinning region began to shatter, and a white tunnel appeared. A stream of light shot out from the white passage at top speed, so fast that it created sparks. After a short while, the flowing light slowed down and turned into a human figure. Phew, the spatial passageway is truly dangerous. The figure let out a long sigh of relief as he looked down. Junior Ming Liang of the Qingxi Temple greets the Immortal Realm emissary. Reverend Ming Liang is the first to speak. The thick immortal aura, the fact that he had traveled through space, and the news from the 9th floor of Heavenly Palace all pointed to the fact that this person was an emissary from the Immortal Realm. So you are Ming Liang. This Immortal Realm emissary was very handsome. He had a lock of long hair at his temples and carried an immortal sword on his back. Qinyu, who was watching all this from below, was very confused. Why didn't the immortal keep the immortal sword in his body, but carry it on his back? Qinyu had no idea that this was the difference between a sword immortal and an ordinary immortal. Ordinary immortals had flying swords, and so did sword immortals. Generally, immortals kept their flying swords in their bodies, but sword immortals carried them on their backs. Moreover, sword immortals not only had immortal swords, they also had sword nascent souls, equivalent to the yuanying of an ordinary immortal. This junior is indeed Ming Liang. Reverend Ming Liang said respectfully. The Immortal Realm emissary nods and smiles. I am Sword Immortal Huayan. You can address me as Senior Huayan. When you obtained the Heaven Sundering diagram, His Majesty Emperor Yu was very happy. He even asked me to reward you heavily. Oh right, where's the Heaven Sundering diagram? You can leave it to me. Reverend Ming Liang bitterly smiles. Senior Huayan, half a day ago, this Heaven Sundering diagram was still in my hands. After hearing this sentence, Sword Immortal Huayan's face slightly changed, but he did not interrupt. It's just that not long ago, the chaotic Astral Ocean's Zhongju and the Dragon Clan's Patriarch Fang Tian joined forces to break my Qingxi Temple's 10 development illusionary formation. Afterwards, a mysterious sword Immortal Lan Feng appeared and directly took away the Heaven Sundering diagram. Ming Liang is too weak and has no power to resist at all. He can only be manipulated by them. When Ming Liang said that he was at their mercy, his heart was filled with bitterness. As the number 1 loose immortal, Reverend Ming Liang's position could not be said to be disrespected. However, in the face of 2 invincible existences, Ming Liang did not have the slightest ability to resist. Sword Immortal Lan Feng? Hua Yin frowned slightly. At the same time, his immortal sense swept downwards. Oh, I can't blame you for this. The five-clawed golden dragon and the golden-winged roc are both super mythological beasts. Even if they are also 12th tribulations, their strength is far stronger than yours. As for Sword Immortal Lan Feng, where is he? When Hua Yin saw Zhong Ju and Fang Tian, he was only slightly surprised and didn't pay them much attention. Sword Immortal Lan Feng just took the heaven-sundering diagram and just left. Reverend Ming Liang said respectfully. He can take the heaven-sundering diagram in front of two super mythological beasts? Hua Yin was a little skeptical. Reverend Ming Liang replied, Senior Hua Yin, that Sword Immortal Lan Feng is not an ordinary expert. He is already a level 1 golden immortal. With his strength, even Zhong Ju and Fang Tian, the two great experts, are not certain of victory. Reverend Ming Liang clearly remembered the conversation between Qin Yu's Sword Immortal Puppet and Fang Tian and Zhong Ju. Impossible. Hua Yan's face changed. A golden immortal definitely cannot be in the mortal realm. Hua Yan's face was very ugly. Reverend Ming Liang continued. However, his strength is indeed ridiculously strong. Moreover, Fang Tian and Zhong Ju, the two great experts, also agreed. Moreover, that Sword Immortal Lan Feng also said that he has a martial brother. Hua Yin did not speak, only pondering. In reality, Hua Yin was only a level 1 golden immortal. Breaking the barrier between the two realms, to form a temporary passageway, was almost impossible. However, Emperor Yu invited his friends to form a passageway. This passageway could at most allow a level 1 golden immortal to pass through. Hua Yin, one of Emperor Yu's elite disciples, was sent down. Although Hua Yan's strength in the immortal realm was weak, he was still a key person to be nurtured. For example, if Fang Tian ascended to the demon realm, even if his strength was only a level 1 demon king, he would still be a key person to be nurtured by the dragon clan. His status would even be comparable to that of an ordinary Xian immortal. Although Hua Yan's strength was not strong, he was still a person with an extremely high status. That is a sword immortal, moreover a level 1 golden immortal. Could it be someone from another power in the immortal realm, or someone from Eternal Green Emperor Qing? Hua Yin guessed in his heart. There were many immortal emperor-level experts in the immortal realm. There were even a few level 8 mystic immortals and level 9 mystic immortals. That year, Immortal Emperor Enai Yang belonged to the highest level of immortal emperors. Although Emperor Yu was one of the top few immortal emperors in the immortal realm, there were still a few immortal emperors who could catch up to Emperor Yu. After guessing for a moment, Hua Yin did not continue to think about it. Ming Liang, this matter cannot be blamed on you. However, you have worked hard for Emperor Yu. Everyone has seen it. I will bestow this top-grade immortal sword star to you. This top-grade immortal sword star is the sword of the immortal realm senior, who created the star technique. It should be the most suitable for you. A gorgeous immortal sword floated out from Hua Yan's hand. At the same time, Hua Yin removed the blood contract. Storing a top-grade immortal sword requires a top-grade immortal grade interspatial ring. A top-grade immortal grade interspatial ring is really too precious. Even Emperor Yu only had one. Hua Yin himself only had a high-grade immortal grade interspatial ring. Therefore, he could only first drip blood to bind the immortal sword. Storage-type interspatial rings are the rarest. Even a high-grade immortal grade interspatial ring is comparable to an average top-grade immortal sword. Ming Liang's entire body trembled. Top-grade immortal sword. His first move was a top-grade immortal sword. Junior thanks Emperor Yu for the reward. Junior thanks Senior Hua Yin. Reverend Ming Liang received the top-grade immortal sword with trembling hands. Below, Qin Yu also sucked in a breath of cold air. Such extravagance. His first move is a top-grade immortal sword. Qin Yu had risked his life in the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion to finally obtain a middle-grade immortal equipment. Of course, Qin Yu's Lord of Black Flame Ring was a high-grade immortal equipment. Moreover, because of its two great domains and its rare storage type, its value was even higher than that of a top-grade immortal equipment. Zhongju and Feng Tian were also shocked. Top-grade immortal equipment? In the mortal realm, there was no way to create a treasure like a top-grade immortal equipment. The Dragon Clan Patriarch's own weapon was only a middle-grade immortal equipment, demon equipment. Unless he used the Dragon Clan's most precious treasure, the Dragon Pearl, it could barely compare to a top-grade immortal equipment. However, using the Dragon Pearl in battle, it would only be used in a life-and-death situation. Zhongju's original weapon was also a middle-grade immortal equipment. Fortunately, he obtained a treasure from Senior Lan. This treasure was also Zhongju's final trump card. Zhongju, this immortal realm emissary came from the immortal realm. According to their words, they should belong to Emperor Yu of the immortal realm. Experts like Emperor Yu do not care about top-grade immortal equipment. Although this immortal realm emissary's personal strength is not too strong, he must have a lot of treasures. Feng Tian's side, Hua Yan's personal strength was only a level 1 golden immortal. However, the amount of treasures on Hua Yan's body was simply shocking. Even in the immortal realm, a normal Xian immortal expert's treasures could not compare to Hua Yan's. This was because Emperor Yu of the immortal realm had also spent a lot on Hua Yan. Zhongju's eyes flashed with golden light. Feng Tian, look at that sword immortal's battle armor. Feng Tian also looked carefully. Immediately Feng Tian's eyes widened. High-grade immortal equipment? And it's even a top-grade immortal equipment? The immortal realm emissary had a lot of treasures. Not only was his offensive weapon good, he also had the best battle armor on his body. Defensive immortal equipment were harder to create than offensive immortal equipment. Storage-type immortal equipment were even harder to create than defensive immortal equipment. Some immortal equipment with special effects were even rarer. For example, the Lord of Black Flame's ring. It was a storage-type high-grade immortal equipment, which was already very impressive. However, it also contained 2 great domains, which made it even more valuable. Senior Hua Yan, this is my junior apprentice brother Ming Shan. This is Shui Yuyang. This is Reverend Qi Yang. This is Reverend Lan Bing. They are all 11th Tribulation loose immortals. At this moment, Reverend Ming Liang was reporting some facts to Sword Immortal Hua Yan. Hua Yan looked at the 4 11th Tribulation loose immortals in front of him. Although to him, 11th Tribulation loose immortals were nothing, he was the only one who had descended to the immortal realm. He was also in need of people. Very good. Everyone's loyalty to Emperor Yu will naturally be rewarded. Here are 4 high-grade immortal swords for you. Hua Yan took out 4 high-grade immortal swords from thin air. These 4 immortal swords were directly taken out by Hua Yan from his spatial ring. Reverend Ming Shan, Shui Yuyang, Reverend Qi Yang and Reverend Lan Bing were all shocked. High-grade immortal equipment? However, in the end, the 4 of them suppressed their excitement, and each of them trembled as they received the immortal swords. Everyone, His Majesty Emperor Yu will definitely not be stingy with his rewards. I Hua Yan will say it clearly. If anyone is able to obtain the heaven-sundering diagram and hand it over to me, I will represent His Majesty Emperor Yu and bestow upon him a set of top-grade immortal equipment battle armor. Hua Yan's clear voice resounded through the world. Top-grade immortal equipment battle armor? Truly rich and overbearing. Zhongju frowned. Feng Tian also smiled bitterly. No matter how powerful they were only people of the mortal realm. How could they compare to Hua Yan? Behind Hua Yan was the immortal realm's Emperor Yu. 8 or 10 pieces of top-grade immortal equipment, to an expert of Emperor Yu's level, was simply nothing. A person's strength, of course, was important. However, weapons were also important. For example, Hua Yan. He had a top-grade immortal sword, a top-grade immortal equipment battle armor, various immortal pills, and some powerful seals and talismans. Just by relying on external factors, his battle strength would increase by several times. He was able to take out a top-grade immortal equipment battle armor as a reward. He definitely has won himself. Feng Tian smiled bitterly. Zhongju, a level 1 golden immortal, has a top-grade immortal sword for attack, and a top-grade immortal equipment battle armor for defense. Let's not talk about other things for now. Do you have the confidence to deal with him? Zhongju was silent for a moment. If I had the same weapon as him, and the same defensive immortal equipment, I would be able to compete with him. Hearing Zhongju's words, Fang Tian also felt helpless. In terms of personal strength, they were not weaker than the opponent. However, the opponent's equipment was too good. Hua Yan's gaze turned towards Fang Tian and Zhongju. His figure flashed and arrived in front of the two. Fang Tian? Zhongju. Hua Yan smiled. Fang Tian and Zhongju nodded. Fang Tian spoke. What matter does Sword Immortal Hua Yan have to discuss? Super Divine Beast. Others would probably be afraid of offending him. However, who was Hua Yan? He was the focus of Emperor Yu's forces. This time, he was sent to do such an important matter. One could imagine how much Emperor Yu valued this Sword Immortal Hua Yan. What matter? Qingsu Temple is on the side of the immortal path. Why did you break the 10 development illusionary formation? The smile on Hua Yan's face disappeared, and his expression became cold. Fang Tian and Zhongju's eyes slightly narrowed, emitting a cold light. While standing behind Fang Tian, Qingyu had been quietly watching the matter unfold. Moreover, from time to time, he would communicate with his two brothers, using his spiritual sense. After all, no matter what happened, Fang Tian and Zhongju would be there to support them. The three brothers were not worried at all. Ho Fei's voice transmitted through his spiritual sense. Big brother, that Hua Yan is really rich. Offensive immortal equipment, defensive immortal equipment, and even a spatial ring. He is simply a moving treasure trove. From what I see, he definitely has all kinds of top-grade immortal pills from the immortal realm. Qingyu smiled. At this moment, Hua Yan had already arrived in front of Zhongju and Fang Tian, and began to ask questions. Big brother, I have a feeling that Hua Yan is about to make his move. Kuroa's deep voice resounded in Qingyu and Ho Fei's minds. Qingyu agreed and transmitted that Hua Yan already knows Fang Tian and Zhongju's identities. He knows that the two of them are invincible existences in the mortal realm. He has just arrived in the mortal realm, and probably wants to establish his power. Naturally, the best way to establish his power is to defeat Fang Tian and Zhongju. To establish his power, he must find the strongest. And the matter was indeed within the expectations of Qingyu and his two brothers. What does Sword Immortal Hua Yan's words mean? Why do we need you to care about the conflicts between the people of the mortal realm? I don't like the Qingsu Temple. So what if I broke their 10 development illusionary formation? Could it be that Sword Immortal Hua Yan wants to use us to establish his power? Zhongju coldly said. At this moment, Zhongju did not show any signs of weakness. It's just that Sword Immortal Hua Yan. People must know their own limits. There is nothing wrong with establishing your power. Unfortunately, I'm afraid you have chosen the wrong target. Zhongju's eyes instantly turned golden. His aura became even more violent and fierce. The corners of his mouth even had a trace of arrogance and disdain. Chapter 265. Hua Yan is not a reckless person. Otherwise he would not have been sent by Emperor Yu to do such an important thing. Seeing Zhongju's arrogant expression, Hua Yan's heart jumped. Could it be that this Zhongju has some treasure that he has not used? Hua Yan's mind rapidly ponders. In terms of personal strength, I am not much different from this Zhongju. I only rely on top-grade immortal sword, top-grade battle armor, various immortal pills and talisman seals. If this Zhongju really has some powerful treasure, then victory is hard to say. At this moment, Hua Yan's momentum pauses. To establish dominance he must win. If he is defeated by Zhongju, then his face will be completely lost. Arrogant people must have something to rely on, especially those with revered status. He has already seen some of my details, yet he still dares to be so arrogant. Without a treasure, that is impossible. Hua Yan is very certain. At the same time, in Hua Yan's mind, the target of his dominance has begun to change. Hua Yan guessed correctly. Zhongju does indeed have a treasure that he has not used. This is the treasure that Senior Lan originally bestowed to Zhongju. This is also why Zhongju is so good to Qingyu, and so respectful to Senior Lan. although Zhongju does not want to use his final trump card. But if he is forced into a corner, he will naturally use it. Thus, Zhongju dares to be arrogant. If he is arrogant without strength, once defeated, it will be even more humiliating. Thus, Feng Tian is not arrogant, because Feng Tian's only reliance is the Inheritance Dragon Pearl. And the Inheritance Dragon Pearl is the entire dragon clan's, not his alone. Moreover, Feng Tian does not have enough confidence to defeat Hua Yan if he uses it. The target of Hua Yan's dominance has instead become Feng Tian. Haha! Sword Immortal Hua Yan suddenly looks up to the sky and laughs loudly. His laughter becomes louder and louder, to the point that it makes those with lower power feel dizzy. Suddenly, Hua Yan stops laughing and coldly looks at Feng Tian and Zhongju. Dominance, humph. I am a dignified Immortal Realm emissary. Do I still need to assert dominance? A dignified Immortal Realm emissary. Do I still need to assert dominance? A single arrogant sentence, but it causes the loose immortals present to involuntarily admire Hua Yan even more. The reason why I'm looking for you now is not to establish my might, but to ask why you destroyed the Qingshu Temple's 10 development illusionary formation. The Xiaxianists of this Tung-Long continent are part of my immortal Tao. As the Immortal Realm emissary, I naturally have the duty to protect the interests of our Xiaxianist section Xi. Hua Yan will say it here. If anyone dares to go against the Xiaxianist sects, then they are going against me, Hua Yan, and the sword in my hand. Hua Yan's voice is loud and clear. Everyone on Mount Qing Su can hear him clearly. All the bodiless immortals were pleasantly surprised, and over 10,000 bodiless immortals cheered in unison. As for Feng Tian and Zhongju, you two relied on your own strength to destroy the 10 development illusionary formation of the Qingshu Temple. Then I, Hua Yan, will come to you two to reason with you. Is that not okay? Hua Yan says in a loud and clear voice. Feng Tian and Zhongju's faces were cold. Behind Zhongju, Qin Yu and his two brothers were sighing. Big brother, this Hua Yan really knows how to talk. He can even turn black into white. He obviously wants to establish his might, but he makes it sound so dignified. Ho Fei says with dissatisfaction through sound transmission. Qin Yu says through his holy sense, don't worry. Zhongju and Feng Tian are the two unparalleled existences of the mortal realm. How can the two be stumped by this problem? Indeed, Feng Tian spoke. Hua Yan. Feng Tian's face is serious. No matter if it is the mortal realm or the upper realm, I believe that the strong are respected. It is because the strong are respected that your backer, Emperor Yu, became the leader of one of the immortal realm's major powers. The strong are respected. In the eyes of Brother Zhongju and I, the Qingshu Temple is just a small sect. We can step on it whenever we want. Now that we have stepped on it, what? You are not happy. Hua Yan, you are already a golden immortal, not a hot-blooded youth who just started cultivating. You are not an idiot to talk about righteousness, are you? That is just a lie. Feng Tian laughs coldly. If you want to establish your might, just say it. Don't say so much nonsense. Saying so many dignified words gives me goosebumps all over my body. I even look down on you even more. Immediately, the experts of the Dragon Clan immediately agree. Clan leader is right. If you want to fight, just do it. Don't talk so dignified. Humph, what are you playing at? Black Dragon Aosu laughs coldly. The Dragon Clan is proud and arrogant. Facing the Dragon Clan's mockery, Hua Yan only smiles faintly, not angry at all. I did not say anything righteous, I only said, I am the Immortal Realm's emissary. They are people of a Xiuxian sect. They support me, so I naturally have to protect them. Whoever dares to touch them, I will cut off that hand. Hua Yan's voice gradually becomes cold and harsh. Dragon Clan leader, do you understand? Feng Tian smiles faintly. If you want to fight, then do it quickly. Hua Yan smiles brilliantly. Since you can't wait, I want to see, on what basis do you dare to humiliate my immortal sect? Suddenly, like a blooming lotus, Hua Yan's entire body is surrounded by rays of sword energy. His entire body is like a sword that supports the heavens. Hua Yan's right hand slowly grasps the sword hilt behind his back, slowly pulling it out. In the process of pulling out the sword, The sword energy is rapidly rising at a terrifying speed. Feng Tian raises his head. A dragon roar rises from his mouth. At the same time, Feng Tian disappears, and an enormous golden dragon over 1,000 meters long appears on top of Qingsu Mountain. That enormous and noble aura naturally spreads out along with the golden dragon's breath. On the scene, except for a few people, almost the majority of the people feel that terrifying pressure. 7-star sword art. Starting move. That low chant rises. The right hand that was originally slowly pulling out the sword instantly disappears. At the same time, a brilliant and sharp light shoots out, directly chopping towards the golden dragon. Poof! The 5-clawed golden dragon's dragon claw easily breaks the starting move. Huayan, you want to use the starting move to deal with me? Aren't you too arrogant? Feng Tian's voice rises directly from the 5-clawed golden dragon's mouth. Good, since you want to taste my power, I won't be merciful. Huayan lightly smiles. Huayan's back is ramrod straight. His entire body is like a sharp sword. The immortal sword in his hand transforms into tens of thousands of sword shadows. 7-star sword art. Twinkling brilliance. Shadow. Like a dream, one sword shadow after another instantly covers the entire sky, densely packed and endless. All of the loose immortals below feel a burst of palpitations in their hearts, because everyone feels that any one of the sword energy can easily kill them. The 5-clawed golden dragon Feng Tian also feels that this move of Huayan's should be relatively powerful, so much so that this is only a foreshadowing. Immediately, the 5-clawed golden dragon's entire body flashes with rays of sparkling and translucent golden light. As the golden light condenses, the 5-clawed golden dragon's entire body is as dazzling as the sun. 7-star sword art. Dubhe. Mystery. Huayan says softly. The immortal sword in Huayan's hand suddenly breaks through the sky. The countless sword shadows in the sky actually begin to rotate. Then the rotating circle instantly expands by 2 times. But at the moment when it expands to the maximum, it instantly shrinks to the limit, completely merging into the immortal sword. The immortal sword's brilliance is restrained, but that terrifying aura has a kind of heavy feeling. This guy Feng Tian is about to use his ultimate move. Below, Zhongju secretly says. Facing this move, the 5-clawed golden dragon's entire body's brilliance rises again, immediately covering the rays of the sun in the sky. At the same time, the 5-clawed golden dragon's body instantly shrinks. From over 1,000 meters long, it suddenly becomes 10 meters long. Below, Zhongju's eyes brighten. The 5-clawed golden dragon's 5th claw. At this moment, this 10-meter-long golden dragon actually has 5 dragon claws. This 5th dragon claw is at the abdomen area. The dragon claw instantly becomes larger and longer. The entire dragon claw is dazzling. Huayan's immortal sword and the 5-clawed golden dragon's 5th dragon claw. Direct confrontation. Both of them have enough confidence in their strongest ultimate move, but the result is, the immortal sword vibrates, while the 5-clawed golden dragon flies backwards. At the same time a ray of light flashes. In an instant, the 10-meter-long golden dragon once again becomes a 1,000-meter-long giant golden dragon. Relying on the power of a top-grade immortal sword, you can only do this. Feng Tian's cold voice comes from the giant golden dragon's mouth. At this moment, Huayan's heart is also shocked. A super divine beast is worthy of being called a super divine beast. It is only at the 12th tribulation. It actually dares to use its own claws to fight against a top-grade immortal weapon. Although it lost in the end, it still managed to block my top-grade immortal sword. The strength of a super divine beast's body is indeed formidable and terrifying. Although I am in an advantageous position, it will still take some time to defeat him. Huayan secretly ponders. I want to establish my power. I must end this battle quickly. Otherwise, if I drag it out too long, the effect of establishing my power will not be effective. Huayan's heart hardens. Huayan flips his hand. A purple talisman appears in his hand. Feng Tian, you think you are so great just because you are a 5-clawed golden dragon? Then have a taste of the tempestuous lightning talisman. Huayan imbues energy into the purple talisman. Immediately the purple talisman emits rays of lightning, then soars into the sky and flies towards Feng Tian. Feng Tian's face changes greatly with a single glance. Tempestuous lightning talisman. Sealing a seal in a talisman, its power is much weaker than when an expert uses it himself. This tempestuous lightning talisman was personally created by Emperor Yu. If Emperor Yu uses it, any random tempestuous lightning talisman can kill a level 9 golden immortal. However, Hua Yin is too weak. The tempestuous lightning talisman he uses can at most kill a level 3 or 4 golden immortal. A level 3 or 4 golden immortal is equivalent to a level 1 golden immortal sword immortal. Using it to deal with Feng Tian is more or less enough. Facing this life and death situation, Feng Tian swallows the inheritance dragon pearl. At the same time, with a dragon roar, the 1,000-meter-long golden dragon turns into a 10-meter-long small dragon. Although its size has become smaller, Feng Tian's defense has increased by who knows how much. Boom! The tempestuous lightning talisman shatters. One lightning after another fiercely strikes Feng Tian's body. No matter how Feng Tian tries to dodge, every lightning bolt seems to have a mind of its own, still striking Feng Tian's body. In the blink of an eye, 100 lightning bolts strike down. 100 tempestuous lightning. Dragon scales shatter, blood flows out. Feng Tian instantly transforms into human form. The inheritance dragon pearl in his body emits a large amount of energy, quickly healing his body's injuries. Luckily it is the 100 tempestuous lightning. If it was the 1,000 tempestuous lightning, I reckon I would be finished. Feng Tian secretly sighs in relief. This tempestuous lightning technique is an extremely powerful attack technique of the immortal realm. It is divided into 4 levels. Tempestuous lightning, 10 tempestuous lightning, 100 tempestuous lightning and 1,000 tempestuous lightning. The 1,000 tempestuous lightning is too powerful, even for Emperor Yu. Unless he is fighting against an expert of the same level, would he rarely use the 1,000 tempestuous lightning. In fact, the 100 tempestuous lightning is already very powerful. If an expert directly uses the 100 tempestuous lightning to attack, then it can deal with a level 3 or 4 mystic immortal. However, after the 100 tempestuous lightning is merged into the talisman, its power is only 10%. This 10% is enough to deal with a level 8 or 9 golden immortal. However, the 100 tempestuous lightning talisman also needs to be activated. The higher the power of the user, the more energy it can activate. Hua Yin is only a level 1 golden immortal. He can activate only 10% of this 10%. That is why he only heavily injured Feng Tian. Hua Yin. A cold shout sounds. Zhongju arrives beside Feng Tian, coldly looking at Hua Yin. Hua Yin, you are also an immortal realm emissary, but now you can only rely on the 100 tempestuous lightning talisman to injure others, truly laughable. At this time Zhongju stands up. After all, Feng Tian is already heavily injured. Even though Feng Tian is heavily injured, he still does not lower his head, also coldly looking at Hua Yin. Hua Yin, this 100 tempestuous lightning talisman, is also an extremely powerful talisman. If an expert uses it, he can definitely defeat a level 8 or 9 golden immortal. But your power is too weak. You cannot completely activate the power within. You can only injure me but not kill me. Really? Hua Yin slightly smiles. Feng Tian and Zhongju's faces instantly change. Because, at this moment, 500 or 600 tempestuous lightning talismans have appeared in Hua Yan's hand. One talisman was enough to heavily injure Feng Tian. 5 or 6. Feng Tian and Zhongju will definitely not be able to resist. As an immortal realm emissary, how can I only have 100 tempestuous lightning talisman? Even though the 100 tempestuous lightning talisman is precious, it is nothing to me. If the two of you really want to continue fighting, I also do not mind. Isn't it just spending a few more 100 tempestuous lightning talismans? I do not care. I have a lot of these things. Hua Yin indifferently says. Feng Tian and Zhongju look at each other and smile bitterly. Rich and overbearing. The 100 tempestuous lightning talisman. This kind of talisman is extremely precious in the immortal realm. Normal Xian immortals probably do not have many of them. But behind Hua Yin is one of the top few in the immortal realm, Emperor Yu. To Emperor Yu, making the 100 tempestuous lightning talisman is indeed very easy. Perhaps only the 1,000 tempestuous lightning talisman would cause Emperor Yu to feel distressed. Emperor Yu still does not care about the 100 tempestuous lightning talisman. A good opportunity. At this moment, Qin Yu's eyes brighten behind Zhong Ju. If the information regarding the sword immortal puppet that Uncle Lon left behind is not wrong, then this is the best opportunity to establish our might. Moreover, looking at how rich the sword immortal Hua Yan is, he definitely has a lot of top-grade elemental holy ore. On the side of the loose immortals, every one of their faces is filled with joy, looking at sword immortal Hua Yan with reverence. While the side of the chaotic astral ocean and the dragon clan are feeling powerless, a voice rises. Oh, sword immortal Hua Yan. Haha. Fellow Hua Yan, I am Lanfeng. Following the loud laughter, a cold male carrying an immortal sword appears out of thin air on Mount Qingsu. It is sword immortal Lanfeng. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.